UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
GB News is completely unique in the way that we interact with our viewers.
Our audience aren't afraid to have their say. They want their voices heard now, and they've got a channel where that can happen.
I find more and more as I'm wandering around, people come up to me and they say, we saw you on television. I say, oh yes, on what? On GB News.
Hello, are you the famous Sue? The whole crew hid me here now. We came to celebrate.
It's our job to be the eyes and ears of the viewers.
They are part of the GB News family, and I'm pleased to say it's a very large family.
And if people go to the time and trouble of listening and watching, then we've got to do a good job for them.
Well, I'm here, right in the epicentre of the protest.
Here we go again. You just tuned in. Where have you been?
It is raucous here tonight.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Very good evening, good morning, live from Washington, D.C. This is Bev Turner on GB News with the stories shaping Great Britain and the United States of America tonight.
Going to every tournament thinking we're going to win it. This is no different, but I'll tell you what, there's one difference. We are going to win this one. Come on!
Oh, that was the hope before the disappointment. England have drawn 0-0 with Ghana after a frustrating World Cup match. I'm going to be joined by Ben Leo in Boston and Sophie Reaper in Manchester with some anxiously optimistic and possibly drunk fans. I'll apologise now for the language. Also,
I see the current defence investment plans falling well short of what is required. Our adversaries don't follow timetables set by the Treasury.
Well, here's a twist in the tale. It looks like Andy Burnham might agree with John Healey, who resigned over that low defence funding. Britain's most likely next Prime Minister has told allies that he will spend more on defence than Sir Keir Starmer. But will the outgoing Prime Minister force through his funding plan before loading up the removals van? Also tonight.
That's the law. It's an international waterway. No country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway.
Just when you think it's sorted, it turns out not to be. All is still not well with the Iran deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio insisting that the Strait of Hormuz will be open toll-free, but Tehran have openly refuted claims that they will welcome UN weapons inspectors. What will happen next? Plus,
would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do.
One of the world's most influential conservative commentators, Tucker Carlson, has denounced the Republican Party thanks to divisions along the fault lines of Israel and Iran. This war is tearing Donald Trump's online coalition apart. Will it matter come the midterms? Plus tonight. It's been 10 years since Britain decided to leave the EU in that 2016 referendum. After a decade of dust has now settled, we'll be debating, did the leavers ever get what we were promised? I'm Bev Turner and this is The Late Show Live. Joining me this evening in Washington, my panel, US political analyst Eric Ham is here with us, and political strategist and podcast host Tiffany Marie Brannan. And in London, we have GBNews contributor Kai Wilshaw and Paul Cox. They are also staying with us for the remainder of this evening. Thank you all for being here. Now, Tiffany, you said that when you've been on the show before, you've had marriage proposals from our audience.
Yes, it was the best night of my life. I didn't know that this job could maybe find me the love of my life, but I'll take it.
How about you, Eric? Any marriage proposals?
None. Still a long
Also, dual citizenship, right? Because if it's a British guy, then I can get the dual citizenship if I've been dreaming up. So.
Paul Cox, have you been hassling Tiffany again? You know, I've told you about this.
No.
I've warned you before. Stop pursuing the guest.
I've got a pseudonym on Your Say, the Great British Lover, and I just do it with all the female panellists, if I'm honest, Beth.
Well, Kai, it's because she beats up the lefties. This is what she says every time she beats up the lefties, whether it's Jonathan Liss or Matt Stadler and potentially you, the marriage proposals come flooding in.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do. Yeah. I mean, what's better than beating up a lefty for, you know, a little romance?
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. I can take it. I know my role. Paul Cox here gets ties sent to him by the viewers. What have I got? I got one pack of things about COVID vaccines, and that's all I've got. No ties, no flowers, no nothing. It's outrageous.
That's as it should be.
Oh, well, that might all change tonight. Right, moving on to this main news this evening. It is, of course, it's the hope that kills us. England have drawn their second group match of the FIFA World Cup with a 0-0 draw against Ghana. It is by no means a catastrophic result, apparently, but the performance was very different from that exciting opening match against Croatia. Now, this means that England will go into their final group game knowing that avoiding defeat against Panama will ensure that they progress through to the knockout rounds. 3 points, though, of course, as if I know what I'm talking about, would be preferable to ensure England top the group. So is this a reality check for the Three Lions? Let's go now to hear from some fans. Let's go to Manchester. GBNews national reporter Sophie Reaper is there. Oh, Sophie, have the fans all gone home? Is everybody a bit sad?
Absolutely, Bev. I'm not sure what I can offer you in the way of fans right now, because you say there's a sharp contrast in terms of the game against Croatia last week and the game now. And I think if you take a look around me here, the emptiness of the streets here in Manchester really is a testament to that. As soon as that final whistle blew in that game this evening, the fans, there was a mass exodus and everyone just went home because, as you say, it was a huge disappointment. I think it is the hope that kills us every time when it comes to England, isn't it? And I think after that game against Croatia, it was really quite a resounding victory. I think people were coming into this game tonight. Everyone said that Croatia was the difficult game, the one that we had to prove ourselves in. Everyone was coming into this game tonight thinking perhaps Ghana might offer an easier opportunity. When I was speaking to other fans, they were saying, yes, I'm sure we're absolutely going to batter them. And then, look, a 0-0 draw. Very, very disappointing. But that does not mean that it is over for England. And there's one thing I have to say about our fans. They may have gone home early tonight to try and get some beauty sleep. But if there's one thing I have to say about our fans is that they back us to the hilt. And we spoke to some earlier on before kick-off, and we spoke to them about, is it coming home? It's been 60 years. Can this be the year that England finally bring it home once again? Take a listen to what they had to say.
This is the moment. If any moment, now is the moment, right?
I do think that we've got a manager who's quite positive, and I do think that if we are going to win it this year, and the stars align, and we played last 32, last 16, last 8, I do think that it could be our year. I do.
I think we'll get to the semis and that'll be it, I'm afraid. Sorry.
I go into every tournament thinking we're going to win it. This is no different, but I'll tell you what, there's one difference. We are going to win this one.
Come on!
And I tell you what, Bev, that chap who said we're going to get to the semis and that's it, he was in the minority. Everyone else was saying to me, as they often do as England fans, that everyone was saying, this is it, this is the year. Now, after that performance, there will be some nerves as we go into that Panama game. Are we going to be able to do the business and carry on through the round? Maybe even to the final, maybe even to once again bring football home 60 years after that historic 1966 victory. Can it happen? Only time will tell, Bev.
Thank you so much. Can I just say as well, as someone that grew up in Manchester, seeing you out on the streets of Manchester after midnight with no coat on, I think that's the most shocking event of the evening, that it's that warm in Manchester after midnight. I've never seen that before. Right, Sophie, thank you so much. Let's go now to Boston. Ben Leo is there with the fans celebrating. Ben, do you have anybody left, or have they all gone home like in Manchester?
Oh, we've got loads of fans. Loads of fans here, Bev.
Oh,
everybody's out in fairly good spirits still, despite the weather. I guess the weather represents kind of the mood after that drab 0-0. I found some fans here. Hello, guys. What's your names?
Hello, Georgina.
Georgina.
Sally.
Sally.
Yeah, I'm Harry.
Where are you guys from?
Portsmouth. I'm Birmingham.
Portsmouth.
Pompey as well. How do you feel after that game?
Pretty downbeat, to be honest with you. I thought it was a pretty dead blow, wasn't it? It was not very good, was it?
They turned the screw in the last 20 minutes or so. Should those substitutions come a bit earlier, do you think?
I reckon so. It was very disappointing from the Croatia game.
Yeah, the Croatia game was quite high energy, good, lots of goals.
I definitely thought it was coming home then.
Is it coming home now? Are we going to win it still?
Hopefully. I don't know. Spirits should remain high.
And what's the plan tonight? Celebrating the fact you're here, or are you going to get a cup of tea and play some cards?
No, we're going to celebrate it. We're going to celebrate it all night, aren't we? We're going to a gig. We're going to enjoy ourselves, make the most of it the next few days.
I'm celebrating. I'm 30 today.
Yay! Happy birthday.
So I would have loved that win, but we didn't get it. Next
well
time.
Done. Well
next
done.
Saturday.
Happy birthday to you guys. Thank you so much. We found some Ghana fans over here, Bev, strolling through the street. I accosted them and told them to stay where they were. They got pizza. Hello, guys. Good to see you. GBNews from London. Are you celebrating with pizza after that good result?
You know, they said we was going to lose, and we didn't end up losing. We ended up drawing, so it's a win in our book.
Yeah,
you know,
it was a good result. You played. I have to say, you did play well. It was solid.
Yeah, our defense was really good, I would say. I say we really did good on our defense.
And what's the plans? What's the plans tonight after that good result?
I don't even know. I don't know. Find some type of party.
We'll definitely find something. Trust that.
Is there a big Ghanaian community in Boston or America?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of them really came out today because of the rain and the weather.
They got scared off.
Yeah.
It was conditions for England, wasn't it? It was grey skies, wet rain. What pizza have you got? That's the most important question.
Got some pepperoni right here.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. You stay here after I finish this hit and I'll be getting stuck into that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Well done on the result. Good luck for the rest of the tournament. Should we try and find one more, Bev? Have we got time? Have we got time? Any more?
Let me
crossing over here. Here we go. Three lads skipping across the zebra crossing. Go on, Bev. Here we are. Bev, let's get these guys.
I'm interested to know with some of these
guys, how you doing? How you feeling after
fans,
that?
Pretty bored, really. Are they here to see lots of matches, Ben? Or they just? Oh, here we go. Let me leave Ben to talk.
Are you here to see lots of matches, or are you here for the rest of the tournament?
How many of them have come out?
Oh, so you're going to New York on Saturday?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay with Bev. So you're going to New York on Saturday with Panama. Can we still win the World Cup after that?
We can still win the World Cup.
Some USA fans there. USA won't have a chance, they will.
Donuts, mate.
Donuts. Yeah. They like donuts. Guys, thank you so much. Bev, sorry, go on. There's a bit of a delay, so it's slightly awkward. Go on, Bev.
Don't worry, I'm just wondering how many of these fans come to see one specific match in one specific state or city, or are they staying here for 2 or 3 weeks? The people you speak to, are they going to take in as many games as they can and kind of travel around like you're doing, you lucky blighter, or are they just going to one fixture, they're going to be in Boston and then they go home again?
Yeah. It's varied. We've seen lots of people today in Boston who we spoke to in Dallas. Everybody really happy to see us, which is nice. So some people stay the whole duration of the tournament, work depending, and also depending how far we get in the tournament as well. Other people, I think those guys we spoke to there from Portsmouth, from Pompey, Paul Cox, neck of the woods, play up Pompey. They're here. They came for a wedding, actually. They were just down the road at a wedding. They thought it's great timing to come down here and watch the game as well. And I think they're going to see a band tonight. So it's really varied. People have work as well. Money is a big factor. The games, of course, are quite pricey, quite spenny, and also accommodation as well, and beer and so on. So it's very varied. But we have seen lots of people from Dallas at the Croatia game who are now in Boston.
And Ben, again, I didn't get to see the game. It's actually surprisingly difficult to find somewhere to watch it on the telly here in America unless you have various subscriptions. So just tell us, because there'll be lots of viewers as well that didn't see the match, how did it go and why did we not meet the performance standard of the game against Croatia? What do we do differently?
We didn't turn up for the first 70 minutes, very cagey, weren't very creative, especially going forward. Ghana really didn't have any chances to write home about, so it was looking like a 0-0 draw. Thomas Tuchel, to his credit, as we saw with Croatia, he made some positive substitutions. Marcus Rashford came on, Bukayo Saka plays for Arsenal, champions, and we really started turning the screw in the last... where are you from? Portugal?
Portugal.
Good result.
Portugal.
Was it 5-0?
5-0.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo too.
Good man, thank you. Portugal 5-0 today. Yeah, so they we turned the screw in the last 20 minutes or so. So it was a good last 20 minutes. We came close. Harry Kane maybe had the miss of the century, actually. 5 yards out from goal, the ball fell to him and he blasted it over the bar. I think the ball's still in the sky now over Boston. But it was a positive last 20 minutes, but disappointing overall.
Yeah. And how about the atmosphere, Ben, there in Boston? Obviously, the weather isn't what it was when you were at the last game in Texas. That kind of puts a bit of a dampener on things, doesn't it? But has the city got behind the event?
Yes, the America as a whole has got behind the event. Boston, lots of people, the staff actually at the bars and so on, have been absolutely applauding, and they seem to have an obsession with the Scotland fans, the Tartan Army. Of course, GBNews was here for the first Scotland game against Haiti, and the city was rocking. This time round, as I said, for some reason, I don't know why, they seem to like the Scotland fans. I don't know what it is. But the England fans, they were in great voice last night. Ben and I, the cameraman, were in a bar last night. You might have seen a clip on social media singing Wonderwall and all sorts of other songs to do with Germans. So it was a good atmosphere. Today, though, the weather has dampened it a bit, but I think as the night goes on, you'll probably see a couple more fans come out. But yeah, let's be honest, the result has dampened spirits a little bit. So all eyes now on New York against Panama.
Yeah, unless you're Ghana. I was quite interested to see the Ghanaian fans saying they were taking this as a victory. They obviously were going into the match just thinking they were going to get annihilated. Yeah. So for them, it's a fun night, right?
Yeah, it's a great result for Ghana. I thought it was going to be 3-0. Everybody else earlier today was saying 3-1, 4-1. It's because they took the optimism and the positive performance from the Croatia game, where we looked incredible going forward. You'd have to say one of the most positive attacking teams of the tournament so far. So that's why there was such optimism. But yeah, the Ghanaians, as we just heard from them, very happy with their point. I think they beat Panama in their last game as well. So they're now second in the group. So they should be qualifying as well, which is a great victory. A great result for Ghana. They'll be going through to the knockout rounds.
Yeah. OK, right, Ben, we will leave you to find some more British fans who've been enjoying American hospitality, and we'll be back with you a little while later. And actually, maybe we should pull the clip of Ben and cameraman Ben in the pub last night, because that was pretty raucous with their Oasis singing. And we might just play that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think at home, gbnews.com/your say. I think I'm going to talk to my panel now about this. How do you feel that America is winning over, Tiffany, this like buying into the World Cup and getting on board with it? Are you invested?
I'm incredibly invested. First of all, it makes me really, really excited because I think that it is rewriting the truth for everyone about America and how we do love the world. We are this very open, welcoming people who, you know, really have just nothing but optimism and positivity to share, instead of all the mass media fake propaganda press that's been spread around about how we're hateful, we're a mess, all these negative things. And I love that we are really seeing, you know, kind of everyone being super patriotic and wanting to celebrate. And You and I have talked about how people don't have fun very much anymore. And this is an opportunity for us to have fun not only with our fellow Americans, but with the entire world.
Yeah. Eric, are you invested in this championship?
Unfortunately not, but this is a global sport, and I think it's a huge win that not only that it's taking place in the United States, but also the region is actually hosting this event. You've got Mexico, United States, and Canada games taking place at all three countries, and the fact that you have so many people coming from around the world. As Tiffany says, I think it's a major showcase for the United States, and also I think it's a dry run for the Olympics that are going to take place in a couple of years as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Where are they going to be?
LA.
In LA?
Yeah.
Didn't you have the Olympics years ago in LA? Have I imagined that?
We did, yeah. 1984.
84, I thought so. Yeah, yeah, and Atlanta... 4 years. There we go. Testing my sports knowledge here, gentlemen. Paul, what about you with this World Cup? I mean, look, this would be a very different show if we'd like smashed them 5-0 tonight, wouldn't it? We still got to keep the energy. But how would you describe this mindset that we now find ourselves in as England fans?
I think it's important to remember a couple of things. This is a world tournament. Everybody's up for it. Ghana did exactly what they would have planned to have done tonight, which is looked at that way that England played against Croatia at the weekend and thought, we're going to have to metaphorically park the bus and man mark each of the players to stop England playing the way that they can, and they did that expertly. Incredibly frustrating for us England fans, but fair play to Ghana. I don't support Ghana in the same way that Kai does because he's a wally, but I would like to give them some credit. It's not the end of the world. We will very likely go through the group. We'll probably beat Panama at the weekend, and it'll all turn around very quickly, and our spirits will be higher once again, Bev.
Kai, I'm just thinking about kind of the political landscape and how it might look in the next few weeks. Is there any possibility, do you think, that by the time the World Cup final comes around, Andy Burnham will be installed in number 10? And can you imagine if England do win the World Cup under Andy Burnham as a newly crowned Prime Minister, who is a massive football fan as well? That would be a great start for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd imagine he really wants that. Andy Burnham comes in, a summer of fun. We've found Lord Lucan. What else can we do? I mean, I really think Andy Burnham's... Keir Starmer's given him that, hasn't he? Andy Burnham wanted some time until September, but actually, this might have a good sting in the tail for Andy Burnham. I have to apologise for my support of Ghana. I've got some stick from the viewers. For supporting Ghana. But let me be clear, there's a sweepstake at work, and I could be in the running for 240 quid by my maths, which is pretty poor. It's like Rachel Reeves's maths. But you know, so that is why I was supporting Ghana and not supporting England tonight. Sorry.
Typical champagne socialist.
Exactly.
Believes in something until there's some money in it for him, and then it's surprising how quickly his values change. Right, let me know at home what you think. gbnews.com/your say, because still to come this evening on The Late Show Live.
Naughty boy.
Andy Burnham has told allies he's going to find more money for defence than Sir Keir Starmer. That will keep Mr Trump happy, let me tell you. But do Britain's depleted armed forces need a messiah? This is The Late Show Live, only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis, in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So the departing Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has refused to delay the government's publication of the Defence Investment Plan any further. Now, this is despite allies of Andy Burnham saying that he has no right to go ahead with it. Starmer is planning to unveil the plan in anticipation of the NATO summit in Turkey on July the 7th, although many are predicting that he could be replaced by Andy Burnham as early as the 17th of July. Allies of the MP, Andy Burnham, told The Telegraph that the Defence Investment Plan was a significant political decision and therefore not Sir Keir Starmer's to make. But in the latest updates, The Telegraph is reporting that Andy Burnham has told allies that he plans to spend more on defence than Sir Keir Starmer. He's reported to have met Labour MPs and reassured them that he wants to give the Defence Department more than the £13.5 billion offered in the plan. Let's speak now to writer and analyst Elliot Wilson. Elliot, it raises such an interesting issue, this, about whose decision it is to make when it is so significant for the UK. What's your feeling, what's your gut instinct on where this might go?
Well, I think the idea that it's not Sir Keir's right to do so is absurd because, I mean, remember that the Ankara summit where he'll be unveiling the Defence Investment Plan is before nominations even close to the Labour leadership. So somebody could, in theory, be put up against Andy Burnham and win. So we don't know that Andy Burnham's going to be the next Prime Minister at this stage. You know, Prime Ministers remain Prime Ministers until they go and see the King and resign. So he's entitled to do it. Whether it's wise to do it is another issue. Whether it's wise to say that you know, this is the best that he can do is clearly another issue. I think there is a slight irony that Sir Keir, of course, complained bitterly before the last election about Rishi Sunak making appointments to the diplomatic service and as national security advisor in, I think, it was sort of April 2024, which was before the election. So Sir Keir has obviously forgotten that bit of propriety. Is Andy Burnham going to find more money? It would be nice to think so, but I think we should also remember just how inadequate this funding settlement is. You know, the MOD asked for about £28 billion to implement these, the SDR, the Strategic Defence Review, and also to rebuild capacity in the armed forces. They've ended up with £13.5 billion, maybe, of which £3 billion odd, John Healey, who resigned as Defence Secretary, said was Treasury trickery. So I don't see exactly where Burnham's going to get this money, because he's been promising money to everyone. That's the way he's dealt with this sort of leadership approach. So I feel like I'm the only person who hasn't been offered money by Andy Burnham. If he's got a plan, that's great. He can't really announce it till he is Prime Minister, if he becomes Prime Minister. So I think it's wise for him just to settle down and let Sir Keir do what he wants to do in the last few days, weeks, and then he can come in and either say, well, that's good, we'll build on that, or we'll scrap that all and go back on it, or somewhere in between. But, you know, he's provided very little clarity about anything else, so I don't see why that's going to change now.
So does it tell us, therefore, as you said, Andy Burnham may be challenged? It's highly unlikely, Elliot, that he will be challenged. It's highly likely that he'll effectively be parachuted into number 10. So doesn't he have a right to say to Starmer, this is going to be a huge part of my next 2 years in office. I need to be deciding this now. And is it a sort of arrogance on Starmer's part that he isn't just letting him be involved in that?
I think right is the wrong way to approach this. Clearly, you know, the Prime Minister of the day, who will be Sir Keir Starmer, and until he resigns, has the right to do it. I think it's more, I mean, Simon Case, the former Cabinet Secretary, said this today. It's about what's wise, what's appropriate, what's efficient in administrative terms. If we're going to get a whole new defence investment plan that's very different, then, you know, maybe Burnham should talk to Starmer about that. I mean, they're adults, for goodness sake. We do often forget this with politicians. These are two grown men in their 50s or 60s in Sir Keir's case. They could have a conversation, each put their cards on the table. Keir has nothing to lose because his career is effectively over in frontline politics. And they could agree some way of thrashing out a set of announcements. But I think the other thing to bear in mind is that if the British Prime Minister has to go to this summit with no investment plan at all, that's deeply humiliating, because all of the other NATO allies will be there saying, we're going to spend this amount, this is how we're going to do it, we set out this and that. If the British Prime Minister has to go and say, I got nothing, and by the way, in a week or two I'm out of here, that hardly sends a signal that we're a serious nation about our defence.
In which case, it might just be incredibly clever politicking by Andy Burnham to put pressure on him in this respect, because it will make Keir Starmer, perhaps, want to step aside more quickly, make a smoother transition so that he doesn't have to be humiliated on the global stage on the 17th of July. Is there a possibility that that could happen in that time frame, or at least send Andy Burnham as a kind of, you know, a Prime Minister in waiting, a sort of proxy Prime Minister?
It's difficult, because that would assume that Sir Keir Starmer knows that he's being embarrassed every time he goes abroad and says things which are manifestly not true about our national security. And I think that's been demonstrated not to be the case. It would be perhaps a gesture to say to Andy Burnham, look, I'm going to Ankara, this is the big NATO summit of the year, why don't you, as the, you know, putative Prime Minister, or as, you know, he's a Privy Councillor, he's been a Cabinet Minister, why don't you come as my guest or whatever, and you can meet some people and I'll try to introduce you. But again, these are politicians with egos. They should be grown-up human beings. But I think at the end of the day, the question is, are we going to get more money for defence? And I don't see where that's coming from.
Yeah, it also suggests this rumour about Andy Burnham, maybe the fear that some people have that he's very spendy in office and he's very good, like a lot of socialists are, at spending other people's money. Is it already giving us a little bit of a red flag in that regard, do you think?
Oh, I think he's made huge spending commitments that he can't possibly honour. I mean, he's made commitments everywhere. He's going to, you know, keep the triple lock on pensions. He's going to cut taxes for pensioners. He's going to, you know, invest in infrastructure, all this kind of stuff. And there's been no hint of any consequent cuts in expenditure to balance them. I think he's done a real... he's put himself in a very dangerous position, because he's made a lot of promises, some of which he must know he can't honour. And that's not good for politics, and it's not good for trust in politicians. Politicians have got nosebleed. Yeah. It must be the height of Andy Burnham's ambitions. But you know, I don't know exactly where he's. You know, he said he's going to spend a lot of money, and he said very little, if anything, about cutbacks. He said he can stomach some kind of retrenchment on welfare, but you know, who's supporting him? That seems very unlikely. So I think yes, there is a real problem, a real credibility issue.
Thanks, Elliot. We will let you go from the high altitude of a GB News appearance, which has been known to induce nosebleeds, literally and metaphorically before. So thank you so much, Elliot Wilson there, writer and analyst. Let me ask my panel about this. How humiliating would it be, Tiffany, for Starmer to go to this event on the 17th of July and have to be there as a kind of dead man walking, talking to the globalist leaders who he normally is glad-handing, and having to make decisions, or basically not make a decision because he doesn't have the power to do so?
Yeah, it's going to be like, you know, I'm guessing how Biden must have felt after that debate during the 2024 presidential election, where everyone knows you're dead man walking. Everyone knows you are the least important person that they could possibly be talking to. And they're probably going to be calling Andy Burnham to try to make some backroom deal while he's there. So I do think it's really embarrassing. And I'm with you. Never trust a socialist. Socialists lie. Socialists take other people's money and like to use it for everything that they promise and actually use it for nothing. So.
Kai, should he go with Andy Burnham? Would it be the manly, the kind of magnanimous thing to do is to take him round and go, meet my mate Andy? I mean, it'd be very awkward, wouldn't it?
It'd be an odd breach of I mean, it'd be totally mad, wouldn't it, really? Let's be honest. We haven't seen anything like that on the world stage. But it is true that Keir Starmer's looking for a swan song and a legacy with this, trying to push through the defence investment plan that brought down his government. I mean, it's an odd way of going about it, but it's this odd paradox that we have right now where we have the Prime Minister in waiting. He's not even in waiting to all intents and purposes. The civil service have been told to essentially enter a period akin to purdah, which is the pre-election period. And essentially what that means is no more spending commitments, no more announcements, no more consultations, none of it for the next 3 weeks. And that's why this defence investment plan is so controversial, is because it goes completely contrary to that directive right from the head of the civil service. And, you know, what we didn't hear just now in that interview was, you know, also outgoing prime ministers do not do this. They do not make big spending commitments. That is the ongoing convention that we've had for many, many years. So it's both extraordinary in normal circumstances, but also in the specific circumstances of this being politically toxic for Keir Starmer. I don't know why he's pursuing it.
Eric, whose job is it right now to decide the defence plan future of the UK, given that Starmer's got one foot out the door and Andy Burnham's got one foot in?
Well, I think it is complicated. And the last thing you want going into a NATO meeting is to have one of the leaders of one of the major countries actually there without a plan, particularly given that we see that the war in Russia, the war in Ukraine actually, is still taking place. Now, the fact that all of these nations have actually met the 2% threshold of spending, and now they've all committed to a 5% threshold of spending, it would make sense for whoever is there representing the UK to actually have a plan. Now, of course, you're right. I think the right thing to do would actually get the blessing of Burnham actually going into that meeting. But nevertheless, I think what we're seeing here is because there is this trend now where you have many of these nations being far more aggressive in their spending on defense. I think the last thing that Starmer wants as he walks into the sunset is to actually be able to say he has put the UK in a position where, at least on a security basis, they are actually in a good place.
Yeah, Paul, 10 seconds. Who should make this decision, Starmer or Burnham?
Well, it has to be Starmer, even if it's wrong. He's the Prime Minister. You can't have a wingman, can you? What's he going to say when he goes anyway? This is the MP for Makerfield. Like a wingman in a dodgy nightclub. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Starmer makes the decisions. He's the Prime Minister. Andy Burnham isn't the Prime Minister.
Yeah, good point. Right, still to come on The Late Show Live this evening. Have a look at this. And our cameraman Ben Davish there having a lovely time in Boston, let's face it, keeping up the side. But how are they feeling tonight after England drew 0-0 to Ghana? We're going to go back to them next. This is The Late Show Live, only on GB News.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So, sorry, you caught me having a snack there. Tiffany and I were just discussing the fact that we don't get to eat when we're doing this show. So apologies for that. Right, the Three Lions were held to a frustrating stalemate against Ghana in their second group match of the FIFA World Cup tonight. There are a few things, more entertaining than British football fans enjoying American hospitality. So Ben Leo joins us from a rain-soaked Boston with all the mayhem. Ben, where are you? What are you doing? Who can you see?
Hello, Bev. Still in Boston, still raining. Feels much like England, actually. Very English feeling city, of course, one of the 13 colonies. Lots of architecture. Anyway, I digress. I found some England fans. Hey, there we go. Bit of energy. You're Canadian, aren't you? But you've got English roots, English background, so you'll support England today. How did you find the game?
Horrible. Not good. We were very disappointed. We thought that it would be like 6-0, and it was not very much. It was 0-0, obviously, so we were not happy.
It was disappointing. Tell us, you're on a family trip, aren't you?
Yeah, but I want to say one thing about the game. Harry Kane is an absolute scumbag.
Why? Oh, well, that's a bit harsh.
He sucks. He sucks.
What, because of the miss he had?
Yeah, no, he missed a wide open shot. Like,
it was a bad miss.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
I think scumbag's a bit harsh. We love Harry, England captain.
We do.
What's the plan tonight then?
Going for dinner after that. I think the turning point was around 80 minutes when Saka and Rashford got into the game. But that's my own
Yeah, that's the only positive really. The last 20 minutes or so, isn't it?
Actually, we had some action. Before that, it was dead. It was all
And you guys are from Canada, and of course Canada is hosting the World Cup as well. Have you had any sense of World Cup fever in Canada? How is it?
Not really. Not at all. They don't care about football there.
No,
Shame on them.
Yeah.
So I'm German Canadian, so I have to say
Harry Kane plays for
Is that-
Bayern
is that-
Munich,
is-
so I love.
Yeah, we love
all
Harry.
love Harry Kane. Woo!
And also, so you're German, Canadian.
Yes.
So is that why you're not wearing an England top?
Yes.
Is it the German connection?
Yes,
Yeah.
the
All right,
German-
staying loyal.
Yes.
I respect that. Well done, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Safe
you
travels.
so much.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you so
Bye. Thank you. Take care. Let's try and find one more. Any England fans here? There's some Scotland fans. Bev is a bit empty, to be honest. Let's go this way. Scotland fan. He's got kilts on. Here we go. Hello, Scotland fans.
Ben, I thought that boy
How you
was
doing,
a bit
Uri?
harsh.
Ain't it bad yourself?
Yeah. Did you watch the England game?
Yeah, of course.
Are you happy?
About what?
The draw. I take it you want Scotland to win.
Well, I mean, I'm half English, half Scottish, right?
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm going to disappoint you. You thought you were going to get a one-sided opinion, didn't you?
No.
You're going to get
if you want
a sweaty sock dripping all over your camera.
Yeah, if you want to support England, that's fine. So, yeah, a 0-0 draw. Can England still win the World Cup?
No.
No?
No.
Can we not just write that one off?
No. That's not about that. That's, in my personal opinion, that's about, no offence to you, I'm sure you're lovely. It's about the way they've conducted themselves. They've been here 3 days. They've got 40-something arrests.
Oh, England fans?
They closed down all the bars here at 9:30.
I think there was only 7. There was 7 arrests. You guys were climbing up lampposts. I loved it, but you guys were climbing up...
We're fine with us because we were respectful and nice, but I'm just saying, that's my own opinion. But they closed at 9:30 yesterday, all the bars here. That's got to be something. They stayed open for us until they literally couldn't.
Well, you lot have gone to Miami now, so Boston's a bit calmer.
I'm from Miami.
Are you from Miami?
Well, I lived there for 7 months.
Are you also supporting Scotland?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Who's going to go further in the competition, England or Scotland?
Judging by today's performance, probably Scotland, right?
Oh, come on. You've only got John McGinn.
Oh, no.
Super John McGinn.
We've got a lot more than that. But look, England just don't have that cutting edge, right? Like, England have missed ruthless out-and-out strikers for a long time.
Well, Harry Kane, he's England's top goal scorer. I know he missed that massive chance today, but...
He's also England's best defensive midfielder, right? I mean, it's just...
He drops deep a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, so deep, and there's just no one there leading the line. There's no talismanic strike force. And I think, what we've really got to do is bring that through. Gareth was great for consolidating the England squad.
Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, consolidating the squad, bringing through the youth, the generations, but what you really need now is a solid striking coach. So Shearer needs to get out of the punditry box and start playing. Right?
They can call me up, I'll give it a crack.
Yeah.
Probably last about 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Really good seeing you. Where are you from in Scotland?
Kingdom of Fife, just north of Edinburgh.
Oh, brill.
Dunfermline.
I've got in-laws in Dundee.
Oh, wonderful. Up and coming.
Brotty Ferry, up and coming, yeah. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your trip. Bev, should we try and find one more very quickly? There's some England fans here. I'm going to run. There you go, GBNews first, watching me run. Don't judge my run. Hello, guys. How are you feeling after the game?
Yeah, I saw you, Ben.
You saw me? How are you doing?
I saw you. I'm good.
Oh, GBNews fan?
I am. Yeah, of course I am. Yeah. Like I said, that interview that he did the other day with that guy footing to...
Oh, the ice facility.
Oh, man. I love that. I liked that you stood your ground because they're surrounding you and you stood your ground. It
was a leftist mob.
A leftist mob and you stood your ground. Made one man against the majority.
I'll tell you what,
the tyranny.
It was English spirit.
Which
isn't lacking in Boston even after that 0-0 draw. We're still going for it.
We're still going for it, mate. Yeah, I am disappointed though. I predicted 3-0 or 3-1.
So did I. I had 3-0.
I had 3-0. So you know what I mean.
Where are you from in the UK?
I'm from Lincoln.
Lincoln?
I'm from Lincoln,
nice.
yes.
And how long are you here in Boston for? What's your travel plans?
I'm here till tomorrow, and then we're going to New York till the 26th.
For the Panama game?
For the Panama game.
And actually...
we're going there, yeah.
The 0-0 draw today, the Panama game would have been a nothing game, really. Kind of nothing really to look forward to. But now, we need a win. So it makes it a bit more exciting.
We need a win. It makes a town a little bit more... we need to win.
OK. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, mate.
Bev,
Ben,
back to you.
Later, mate.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
See you later.
Thank you, Ben. I'm genuinely interested in what that lady said there about the fact that English fans got arrested and they closed the bars early in Boston. Is that true?
She didn't. No, she's talking rubbish. There was 7 arrests. I think it was about 7 arrests for England fans. Hey, mate, good to see. No, it was nonsense. Ben and I were here on for the first Scotland game, where look, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. The Scotland fans were getting boozy. They were climbing lampposts. There was police coming past saying, "Get down from the lamppost, or you're going to jail." It was quite funny. It was very warm-hearted. So I don't know where this kind of like anti-English sentiment from some minority Scots has come from. No, there weren't 40 arrests. England fans have been in good spirits and well behaved.
Well, we've just played the clip, Ben, of you and cameraman Ben Davidge singing Oasis in the bar. I think we might just have a... We're going to play it again. Let's have another little look at this. Here we go. Here's... Ben Davish closest to the camera in his football shirt there. Ben from Leighton Buzzard and Ben Leo from like near Brighton somewhere.
Ben is shaking his head right now. Ben, this is Ben. He's going.
Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, we tried. We tried. Like I said, it's good spirits. It's all very warm-hearted. It's good atmosphere. It's jubilant scenes. There's no like bad behaviour. Yes, there's going to be some arrests because people are drinking, maybe weeing in the street or something. I don't know, but no, there's not 40 arrests. Ignore her.
OK, good. That's right. GB News America is 2 Bens and a Bev. So we are a very tight little knit team, but I'm so glad you're enjoying yourselves out there, fellas, as well. So we will catch up with you a little bit later. Let me know your thoughts at home, won't you? GBNews.com/your say. I'm going to have a quick look at them whilst we take a very quick break, so don't go anywhere.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to The Late Show Live. We're going to be going back to Bernie Boston very soon, but first of all, let's have a look at some of the main stories on the front of today's newspaper, starting with the Metro, which is reporting killer heat warnings. Da, 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 da. Everyone stay at home. Record 40-degree temperatures, apparently. Of course, They don't trust you to use your common sense, and of course it won't be great to go out and run a marathon in the middle of the day if you're not used to doing so, but can we all just calm down, please? The Sun newspaper is leading with gonna be all right, of course. A picture of a footballer. Who's that? I have no idea. A picture, Jude Bellingham, apparently it's Jude Bellingham, and that I presume is his manager, is saying, it's okay, don't worry, we'll be fine. That's Thomas Tuchel. The Daily Express is leading with don't let them get away with Brexit sellout. 10 years on, of course, Nigel Farage leading Brexiteer anger as the EU seeks reset talks with Andy Burnham. We have heard Andy Burnham say regularly that he hopes to go back in the EU during his time in office. What will he do with that information now? The Guardian are reporting that schools, rail and hospitals suffer as heat engulfs the UK. I am so embarrassed by the way we are responding to this. I had an email from my children's school to say that they're sending them home in the middle of the day. Don't even get me started. I'm irate about this today. They've cancelled all the outdoor sports. Apparently it's too hot to be outside, so they're just sending them all home to sit in the parks and be outside. The iPaper are saying that Britain is set to break this 50-year heat record. Red weather alerts issued in the UK. Absolute institutional panic is what we're looking at. And the Times are saying that Starmer and Burnham are at odds over that defence plan. This is going to be one that's worth watching. And they also say trains cancelled, schools closed as Britain braces for 40-degree C. And the Telegraph are talking about Andy Burnham, this same story. I will boost cash for defence. He's saying, and Britain shuts up shop as temperatures soar, and that is Harry Kane. I do know who he is, with his head in his hand, looking a little bit distraught about the result tonight. The Star are leading with it's the Boston Stranglers. Very clever. 3 Lions back to the drawing board, they're saying. Let's have a look at some of these stories with my panel. What shall we talk about? Let us look. Could we talk about the heat? Shall we talk about the heat? Because I am hot under the collar, Paul Cox. I am hot under the collar about the heat. And I also have to be careful because we have strict rules about the fact that we can't encourage people to do dangerous things like, I don't know, enjoy the weather. So, Paul, your response to the institutional panic that we are currently surrounded by?
Well, you won't be surprised to hear that I'm very much akin to your views on this, Bev. To me, it's all overreach. It's an overreaction. I talked earlier about the sort of the history of this growth of climate alarmism, starting with Al Gore. I do blame Al Gore for a lot of this. If only you guys had allowed him to be president, he wouldn't have gone on this run where he decided to have this pet project of scaring the world to death to make money for himself. And as a result, what we've ended up with, this is not me denying climate change, by the way. The climate's been changing for the history of the planet, but climate alarmism is new, and it's monetised through net zero, and it's monetised through the papers, particularly the left-leaning papers, who know that death and weather sell very well. And yes, it is hot out there. That's because it's June, and we sometimes have hot weather, but it doesn't mean that everybody should be scared to death. When we grew up, Bev, summer and sun was celebrated as something to do, something to be out in, something new and positive, because we weren't used to it.
Yeah.
Now the children are literally told, unless they stay inside, they might die.
Exactly, and what are we doing to their minds? We'll talk about this in a bit more after your weather. It's lovely.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Met Office extreme heat warnings are in place for today and tomorrow. A red warning over parts of the Midlands, South East Wales and southern England, an amber warning covering most of England and Wales. Temperatures very high, mid to high 30s in places. Not that hot everywhere for Scotland and Northern Ireland. A bit more cloud, some showers across the Western Isles, perhaps drifting into the Northern Isles and the far north of the mainland at times. But most places dry and sunny and hot. Those temperatures widely in the high 20s, low 30s over northern England. Northern Ireland up to 24, 25. Same goes to the central belt of Scotland. But in the south, 34, 35, maybe 37, 38 in one or two places this afternoon. Really quite remarkable temperatures for June. Very hot going into this evening. Not much breeze around. The humidity, that is a key factor. That's why we've got the warnings in place. Humidity is pretty high as well, making it harder to sweat, increasing the likelihood of issues with health. A bit more cloud coming into Northern Ireland and again across the far northwest of Scotland. One or two isolated showers through the day, but most places staying dry. A bit more cloud will spill in across Scotland and Northern Ireland into this evening, but for England and Wales it stays largely dry and clear. Again, a very warm and uncomfortable night like last night. It's going to be very humid. Parts of the south likely to stay over 20 degrees Celsius. So the body doesn't have that time to recover. So again, another reason why we've got the warnings in place. Temperatures further north may dip down into the teens across northern Scotland. A bit more clouds still on Thursday into the northwest with more rain likely to filter in across the Highlands and the Western Isles. Some showers for Northern Ireland. Could see some showers in the southwest later on through tomorrow. But again, for most of England and Wales, hot and sunny. Might be a bit of mist and low cloud on the east coast. Peak of the temperatures tomorrow, again, through the central part of England, down into southeast Wales. High 30s possible. Goodbye.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
From cold mornings
To warm family brunches.
from football to tennis in the car,
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again. To start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Tom Harwood. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Very good evening, good morning, live from Washington, D.C. This is Beth Turner on GB News with the stories that are shaping Great Britain and America tonight. Now, that was last night, of course, when hopes were still high. But tonight, England drew with Ghana after a very frustrating World Cup match. I'm going to go back to the Benz in Boston very soon, also tonight.
That's the law. It's an international waterway. No country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway.
The White House are getting very frustrated. It's all hands on deck to rescue peace in the Middle East. President Trump says the Iranians agreed to allow weapons inspectors into their country. But the Iranians say, nope, that never happened. Who is not telling the truth? We'll discuss that next, also tonight. Nigel Farage in fine voice there. Well, it's been 10 years since Britain chose to leave the EU. After a decade of dust has settled, we'll be debating whether the leavers ever got what they were promised. I'm Bev Turner and this is The Late Show Live. Welcome to The Late Show. Joining me this evening, US political analyst Eric Ham is here, and political strategist and podcast host Tiffany Marie Brannan, and in London, GBNews contributor Kai Wilshaw and Paul Cox is there as well. Thank you all for joining us so far. Any marriage proposals, Tiffany? Yet?
Not yet. The night is young. We're going to hope.
Okay. You need to give Kai a harder time.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I need to with somebody. Apparently that's an aphrodisiac in the UK.
What do we fight about?
It's working for every single man who's involved in this project right now, Tiffany. So it's definitely working. Right. Moving on to our main news this evening. President Trump has doubled down on his insistence that Iran has agreed to nuclear inspections. In a Truth Social post, the president has said, despite their protestations and false statements to the contrary, coupled with the drumbeat of fake news, which is doing everything possible to make the US victory as small and insignificant as possible, Iran has fully and completely agreed to highest level nuclear inspections long into the future. Now, this comes after an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson said that the country had no plans to let inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency into the country to have access to their damaged nuclear sites. In another update, the US Senate has voted to stop the conflict in Iran. Now, this is seen to reflect growing concerns by Republicans over the conflict. There have, though, been some positive signs reported. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has steadily increased, and President Trump has hailed that yesterday 19 million barrels of oil flowed out of the waterway. So is this the breakthrough we have been anticipated? Can the Iranian regime be trusted to give access to the inspectors? Let's speak now to international security expert and author Azim Ibrahim. Azim, great to see you. Thank you for joining us again. Now, people who know about this Iranian regime, Lisa Daftari particularly springs to mind from the show last night. She said, America is trusting Iran. You must never trust them. They cannot be trusted. Was she right? Is that what we're seeing?
Well, the Iranian regime is a very unsavoury regime, Bev, and they really can't be trusted, which is why you need these negotiations backed up by strength. And this is what exactly President Trump has been doing. Many critics have been criticising this agreement, saying that Trump has set for far too less. I actually think this is a strategic win for the United States. The United States, achieved most of the objectives. The Strait of Hormuz will be opened hopefully very soon, and traffic will flow. This will relieve pressure from the international markets. Uranium inspectors from the IAEA will be in the country. There'll be a lot of back and forth before that point. He said this and she said that, a lot of denial, because nobody wants to lose face. But the reality is that President Trump had the courage to double down on this agreement when he realized that the conflict was a lot more complex and the challenges were fraught. And it was fraught with challenges throughout. He doubled down on the negotiations and pulled the United States out of this, and so they can focus on much more leading priorities of the United States, which is essentially in the Asia Pacific, and it's not in the Middle East. So I think this is actually a win for the United States. The alternative, Bev, would have been what? The alternative would have been another endless war in the Middle East, costing literally hundreds of billions of dollars and many, many more American lives and Iranian lives for that matter. But President Trump had the courage to pull out at this time when he realised that the challenges are a lot larger and a lot more difficult.
What do you make of Trump's statement that is the drumbeat of the fake news, doing everything possible to make the US victory as small and insignificant as they can? Is he right?
But you're always going to get critics that have wanted to see another endless war. But I think that Trump has had the courage to, pull out at this particular moment. And as I argued, what is the alternative? The alternative would have been, if you cast your mind back to President Johnson or Nixon during the Vietnam War, they realized that the war could not be won, but they still sought what they called peace with honor. And for many, many years, many more American lives lost, many Vietnamese, and billions of dollars wasted. Same thing in Iraq, same thing in Afghanistan. Even after leadership realized that these conflicts cannot be won in the manner in which they had originally anticipated, they still kept going. And whereas President Trump has had the courage to actually pull out and look at where US strategic interests lie, they certainly don't lie in the Middle East. They are in the Asia Pacific, where a rising China is a peer competitor to the United States. Every aircraft carrier, every aircraft, every boat in the Gulf region is one that's not in the Asia Pacific, and that is where the US should be focusing its attention on.
And what about this move from the Senate to vote to stop the conflict in Iran? How significant is that?
Well, the president has got a lot of leeway irrespective of how the Senate votes. I think this is a bit more symbolic than it is actual concrete. I think essentially the president does have a significant capacity to raise this conflict. But this is a symbolic support measure from the Senate to the president to indicate to him that they are fully behind him.
Yeah. OK. Azim, thank you so much. International security expert and author Azim Ibrahim there with the latest on the situation in Iran. Let me ask my panel about this. Eric, I just keep wanting to have a nice, tie it up in a nice bow and all move on. And Iran doesn't have a nuclear bomb anymore. And America's doing all right. We've all got cheaper oil and there's a huge peace settlement in the Middle East. Am I ever going to get such a utopian wish, Eric?
Unfortunately not. And the reason why is because right now Iran has all the leverage. President Donald Trump does want this agreement, but it's hard to actually get a deal with Iran, especially now when we see more and more Republican senators are breaking with this president. And so what we're seeing here is they are going to hold President Donald Trump to this MOU. And in that MOU, it says nothing about nuclear inspectors being allowed into Iran. That was something that they were going to need to add into that. And now that we have a 60-day window in which they can negotiate, they recognize that right now oil reserves around the world are becoming dangerously close to emptying. And they recognize that just only gives them greater leverage and more of an advantage to continue to wait this out. They recognize President Donald Trump is not going to go to war. That's his only option, but it's a surefire way to end his presidency. And right now, they recognize that they are in the catbird seat and they hold all the cards.
Tiffany, do Iran hold all the cards?
I don't think so. I think that, I disagree with this entire agreement. It's one of the few times I've not liked what President Trump has done since being in office for the second term. And I think Iran is an evil on the world. It's a proxy of China, and I really was hoping for regime change. I was hoping that we would help the people more. I was hoping that so many weak senators, this whole Senate vote we've just seen where they're voting to, essentially force the president to end the conflict. I am so tired of a weak Senate, the same Senate that refuses to pass the Save America Act, which would ensure voter ID, which is pretty basic and should be easily voted on considering it's approved by over 75% of Americans. So I really think that this is a frustrating situation all the way around. Iran should never have any nuclear capability. We should not give them billions of dollars. They are an evil on the world and on their own people.
Given that they are an evil on the world, Kai, and that they are funding terrorists all over the world and they cause all sorts of conflicts and disruption that mean that we have people that are leaving that area of the world and coming to find a dinghy and get into the UK. Given all that, was President Trump right to try to bring some sort of control and peace to the area?
Well, I think so. But of course, he started this war. Anybody could have told you it would have been, as you know, your interviewee says, he realised that the challenges are larger and more complicated. I mean, give me a break, people. The idea that this is a strategic win because it keeps the Strait of Hormuz open. Newsflash, the Strait of Hormuz was open before all of this kicked off. It's a geopolitical fantasy. He is a total arsonist. Nuclear inspections, again, we had nuclear inspections under the Obama deal, and all we're left with is this ridiculous situation which, as this BBC article points out, Iranian oil can now be imported directly into the US under this sanctions relief that's been announced. So, yes, I agree with you. What an awful, evil, despotic regime that Donald Trump has enabled through his reckless actions.
Enabled to do what, though? Because he certainly hasn't enabled them to build a nuclear capacity that could affect those of us in the West. He certainly set those ambitions back, and was that not an honourable ambition, Kai?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if there was credible evidence that Donald Trump and his administration, not swayed by Benjamin Netanyahu, that in fact their nuclear capabilities were accelerating, that there were ballistic missiles that could reach further than previously anticipated, then sure, bring a proposal to your allies and see that through in a measured, sensible way, not in the way that we've seen in the last few months, not hinging on a hope and a dream that the Iranian people would rise up when most of them who would have risen up in protest were killed by the same Iranian regime months before, when you had promised them support but didn't turn up.
We've been talking about this, Paul Cox, for kind of whatever it is, 110, 120 days now, something like that. Where do you feel America is at with it?
America as a whole, I'm sure, are fatigued by it. And they're fatigued by it because they don't want their resources sucked away. And that if they are going to be sucked away in this way, they want to see very concise, measurable outcomes. From, I think, the right's perspective, who support Donald Trump, they would agree that at least Donald Trump did what many other presidents said they were going to do. He's taken some action against this Iranian regime. The one reason that some of the others hadn't done is because it's not an easy job. And this has been proven by this particular moment in history. Now, I don't think it's a massive loss. I mean, it's right to say that the Straits of Hormuz were open previously. It's right to say that, very sadly, 13 servicemen from the US weren't dead before the 28th of February. However, I don't think they sacrificed their lives in complete vain. I think the world needs rid of Iran. They are the greatest sponsors of terrorism in modern history. You can trace back nearly every terrorist attack across the Western world to the IRGC. Something has to be done. I think an outcome that would be suitable for me personally is that perhaps the states have control of the Straits of Hormuz, because that is now a lever Iran can pull, which we weren't aware of politically until this war took place. I think this does give Iran, which is a despot regime, a lever to pull that they didn't have previously or that we were unaware of. But I would like to see a little bit more action, because it feels to me, much like you were saying or alluding at the top, there is no tight bow at the end of this. It feels like we're in a worse position than we were, so I'd like to see a stronger outcome.
Eric, do you want to come in on that?
The bottom line is the U.S. has no allies in this fight. No one is coming to the aid of the United States, no one from the West. In addition to that, right now, we know that because the United States has agreed to unfreeze billions in money for Iran. In fact, we know that transfer is actually already taking place. In addition to that, they've already agreed to work with other nations in the region to provide $300 billion in post-construction, as well as we know that they're taking sanctions off of Iran's ability to export their oil. So if we're talking about Iran being a nuclear threat, even though we know that the United States bombed many of those facilities last summer, they are a much greater threat today than they were last year or even before this war began, because now they have untold resources to continue to actually enrich uranium and build that nuclear weapon. And what we saw about Iran was clearly the only way you could actually deal with Iran was to contain them. And so that's what the JCPOA did. And of course, we saw that there were multiple nations that were involved in that agreement, including China, including Russia. And so what we're seeing now is this is Iran unleashed. And one thing we know about state actors, when they actually get more power, it's very, very difficult for them to actually willingly give it up. And that's what President Donald Trump wants from Iran right now. And it simply isn't going to happen.
I'm looking at your messages coming in here. Jolly Roger says, Bevan Paul, I do not trust Pakistan, who will give Iran the uranium, and that Putin will give them scientific engineering experts to build their nuclear bombs. A lot of you are actually really frustrated by the way America has behaved in this conflict, and you think they have been too trusting. Right, moving on. Now, let me know, keep your messages coming, gbnews.com/your say. So 10 years ago today, Britain made the most momentous political decision in a generation. Against the predictions of the political class, the polls and much of the establishment, 7.4 million people voted to sever our ties with the European Union. As dawn broke on June the 24th, 2016, one man declared what he called Britain's Independence Day.
Let June the 23rd go down in our history as our Independence Day!
But a decade on, the Brexit legacy is a subject that continues to create fierce debate. So what have we gained? What have we lost since the decision 10 years ago? Let's speak now to Remainer Matthew Hulbert and Brexiteer Jess Kane. Good evening to you both. Good morning to you indeed. Jess, let me come to you first. Did you ever get what you voted for?
Well, I didn't actually vote in the referendum because I was 15, but I was a Brexiteer at the time, and I still am today. So I didn't vote, but I still held those convictions, which I do today.
And which were what, Jess? What do you believe in that means we shouldn't have been in the EU?
Sovereignty, most of all, because I wanted our country to have the freedom to do whatever it wants to do. Fair enough if a government hasn't been able to act on that, but we do have the power to do that now. We've just had weak governments previously. But if we were still in the EU, we would not have any control over immigration coming into this country. We have much better control over it now. If a new government is formed, a reform government, which I'm hoping for, I'm hoping that they're going to stop the boats. I'm hoping that they're going to deport illegal immigrants from this country, and they will be able to do that because this country now has sovereign rights again, and they're not controlled by the European Union.
Matthew, let me come to you. We both balked a little there about the idea that we might be able to control the people that are coming into our country. We're not doing a very good job of it, are we? But Matthew, what have we lost by leaving the EU?
Great to be with you, Bev. Thank you. Well, I've got a little list, so I'll be very quick, but here we go. This is why Brexit has been an unmitigated disaster. Here's my list. Britain's poorer than it otherwise would have been by around 6 to 8%, according to the Office for Budget Responsibility. Trade's become harder, not easier, with the OBR estimating UK imports and exports 15% lower than if we'd stayed in the EU. The promised economic boom never arrived, and those of us who were accused of peddling Project Fear have been proven wholly right. Immigration, for those who find it a problem, as you know, Bev, I don't, but for those who do, that's gone up since Brexit in a massive way. A couple more. We're less influential in the world, cut off from our nearest partners in Europe just at the moment when the United States is not a reliable partner, and we've had a decade of political instability, about to have our 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. That's the Brexit legacy.
But do you not think that's because... Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, and almost none of those are because of Brexit, though, are they, Matthew? Isn't it fair to say that the pandemic came hot on the heels of the Brexit vote, and therefore it is impossible to extricate what is damage caused by that fiasco and what is the damage caused by leaving the EU. Do you want to come in on that, Jess?
Well, I think that we haven't really had the chance to enact Brexit as people who voted leave would have wanted it to have been handled. You know, we had Mrs May, who was a staunch Remainer before she took over from David Cameron. You had Sir Keir Starmer, who was the shadow Brexit secretary. He wanted a second referendum. Jeremy Corbyn was a bit more Eurosceptic, but he also backed a second referendum. So I don't think we've had people in power who have actually seen Brexit as an opportunity. They've seen it as a hindrance, they've seen it as a problem that they've had to handle, when actually it's one of the biggest opportunities in our political careers, right? That's what I think.
So
anyway.
It just hasn't been, so Matthew, it just hasn't been executed properly. The opportunities were there, but nobody has had it in their heart. There hasn't been the political will since that period of time to make what would be positive changes in the view of Jess there.
I think that's very convenient, isn't it, for those who promulgated this idea. I think I came with the receipts there as to why this has been an unmitigated disaster, and I really hope that
it
looks likely now.
I'm not sure it's a receipt, Matthew. It was just a list.
Well, a list. Well, you know, I think that's the phrase, isn't it? I came with the receipts.
But can you acknowledge my point, though, that we haven't had people in charge of this country who have been pro-Brexit. We did have Boris Johnson, of course, but I feel that the British people felt totally betrayed by him with Boris Wave. Other than that, you've had people who are Europhiles who didn't really want to leave the EU. They wanted to rejoin the EU. They had it was nowhere in their interest to leave the EU. So what do you expect? If you had someone from the very start who had a vision and they saw it as an opportunity, I think we'd be in a totally different situation than we are in today. You know, we had a deal, Mrs May did a deal, that was going to be, you know, the EU's chief was doing it with her, and then all these deals they were going through and everyone was hating them. And in the end, you know, everyone got so cross because no one could come to a deal, but no one had the vision.
And you think,
so
do
Matthew,
you, that you think, do you, that it's going to be sunny upland with Nigel Farage as the Prime Minister, do you? You think that it's going to be... It got very tetchy on telly today. I almost felt that it was a bit of a snowflake on TV today when he was asked some difficult questions, Nigel Farage. Didn't like it at all, did he?
I'm no tribalist, unfortunately, but I do think he will be the person to lead us into a government the next time that there is a general election, and I think he will.
Let me ask you this then, Matthew. If let's say that, you know, we've got Andy Burnham probably just sort of winging his way into number 10 any minute now. If the person after him is Nigel Farage, what does he have to do to make the most of the freedom that we now have from EU constraints?
Well, I just don't accept, to be honest with you, Bev, I mean, God love you, but I just don't accept the premise of that question. And I think you knew that I wouldn't when you asked it, because you like to ask me these tricky questions.
Okay, let me rephrase it then.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just rephrase it then. So, all right, so Andy Burnham, let's say it's Andy Burnham. So Andy Burnham comes in, he's going to respect the will of the people from 10 years ago. What does Andy Burnham need to do to get the Brexit benefits, the Brexit boom that people have been hoping for?
Well, I'd answer it in this way, that I hope Andy Burnham U-turns on his U-turn and goes back to what he was saying just a few weeks ago.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. There's a reason why I asked you the question in that way. Matthew, I deliberately didn't ask it that way. Just use your imagination. Like, put yourself in Jess's probably very lovely shoes for a moment and just picture Andy Burnham comes in and he goes, right, I'm going to give you all the Brexit that we should have always had. What does he do, Matthew?
I don't know, because look, I'm a Liberal Democrat and I was wholly against this dreadful thing from the start. And as I previously said, I think all the disasters and controversies and all the rest of it of the past kind of 11 years wouldn't have happened if the folks hadn't have kicked the Lib Dem ministers out of the coalition government in 2015. That was the original sin.
But do you not think that...
Jess was just...
Oh, sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
Do you not think that it is just awful to dismiss someone's vote from 10... We had a democratic vote 10 years ago. 17 million people voted Brexit. They voted to leave. And then we have people who want to rejoin the EU, who are trying to dilute the democratic will of the British people. And you think that's okay? You think that's all right to U-turn? That a decision was come to. If look, this is my question. This is my question. You want to rejoin, the single market, the customs union. That will include freedom of movement. You want freedom of movement to come back to the United Kingdom.
I absolutely do want that. You're obviously not aware of me. I have no problem with migration at all. I'm probably the most liberal person in the country on migration, as the wonderful Bev knows.
So you don't recognise that there's a huge problem with illegal migrants coming into our country, taking our resources. We have an epidemic of them in... Pardon?
Seeking a better life. Seeking a better life.
Well, if they want a better life, then they can get it legally. Why are they going to come here illegally and take our resources?
More safe and legal routes. We agree.
Well, that's tough. People voted leave. You're a minority. You are a minority. People voted leave.
Let me bring in my panel in London as well on this debate. I think Tiffany nearly fell off a chair then when she heard Matthew say that he'd like more people to come to the UK for a better life, but we'll come to that in a minute. Paul and Kai, in London, this affects kind of us, I guess, a bit more than it does the Americans here in the studio with me, although I know that they both have a keen interest in this topic. So, Kai, when you hear this debate, do you get any clarity on what needs to be done in order for people who voted for Brexit, actually it doesn't matter if you voted for it or not, in order for the country to benefit from it?
No. And look, I feel quite sad about all of this because I think the British people were sold a lie, frankly. We were sold £350 million on the side of the bus. Now, I understand, look, this is politics. You have to say things in a snappy way, and the reality is unfortunately more complicated. It was an in-out referendum. It's extraordinary to me that we boiled down such a complicated issue, membership of the EU versus all the different other relationships that the EU can have with countries, and we boiled that down into an in-out. And then, of course, people who voted for Brexit feel they didn't get what they wanted, because the reality is, I think had we given the British public more options, out of the EU, but maybe close in XYZ regards to control what's our priority? Maybe you'd probably say immigration, right? If you could have found that model, I don't know if that was possible, but if there was a way of doing that, then perhaps people would feel more satisfied. But the idea of Brexit as a settled thing that everybody can agree what it looks like, that's not true, right? And the benefits, we haven't really seen them. On the financial services regulation, we've deregulated successfully, and nobody wants to change that now, because actually that's been to our benefit. But on other things, what would you do? Would you tear off data standards, environmental standards, agricultural standards? Would you deregulate those? Probably not.
We wanted to bring you in Vision, Kai, but we've got a tech issue that you're frozen down there.
You can imagine
despite the heat in London, we can't go to you right now. We're imagining you. So let me bring you back to Matthew and Jess then here at the moment. So, Matthew, I think what you demonstrated there when you said you couldn't even picture what Andy Burnham would have to do, like that profound lack of imagination to see what might be necessary for the country. Jess would say that is what has befallen Starmer and Sunak, arguably as well, and everybody else that's been there, that they just didn't feel it in their heart. Maybe they just couldn't use their imagination, as you can't, to work out what policies we could enact in order to benefit and really own what was the biggest significant political change of our lifetime, Matthew.
Look, Jess has her principles and values, and I respect them, and I have mine, and I hope that mine can be respected as well. And mine are that we were much better off pooling sovereignty, yes, I think that's a good thing. Pooling sovereignty, working with others for the benefit of the whole of Europe. And look at where we are now. Look at where we are now. We are neither in Europe nor have a good situation with America. We're just adrift internationally as a country.
I know, but that's because we've had a Prime Minister that has done nothing to engender a closer relationship with America. He's been constantly preoccupied with his voter base in the UK and not upsetting them by appearing to be too supportive of President Trump. So we just don't have that relationship with America in the same way that we used to have. And yet he can't have cozied up to the EU because that is not what the British people voted for. So in different hands, we may see a more successful version of Brexit. Surely, Jess?
I think so, definitely. Look, I don't understand this whole argument as to why we should even rejoin it in the first place. If we were to rejoin it, we'd have to sacrifice the pound, we'd have to get on the euro. We'd be paying £20 billion a year annually to the European Union. We would never get in on the same deal that we left. It's just utter nonsense. We need to respect the will of the people. And to be honest, I don't think Andy Burnham is the right person to do that because he was a Remainer too. And we've already seen what Remainers do when they're in office. They don't respect the will of the people. They do say that they will try to, but they can't see the perspective of a Leaver. And this is such a big issue that did divide the country 10 years ago, and it still does. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, let me bring in. I think we can now see finally the beautiful sight of Paul Cox and Kai Wilshaw there in London. Paul, I want to know what you think about this because all I know, there they are. All I know, even more beautiful than I remembered. All I know is that we spent as a country £500 billion, £500 billion we spent on flew with a marketing campaign, and therefore it is impossible to know what benefit we could have had from Brexit because we committed the biggest act of economic, psychological, social and cultural harm that any of us will ever hopefully know in our lifetime. How can we possibly know how beneficial Brexit could have been?
Yeah, it's very much lost in that noise. It's so true to say as well, Bev. It's something that both sides... It should be a baseline for both sides' arguments. I mean, the greatest benefit of Brexit is how much it upset the Remoaners. For me, I have spent 10 years taking great solace from the fact that the people that were most upset by it are those that I totally disagree with on almost everything. I don't believe that we should have another vote. I mean, it destroyed the country to this point. Jess has already said most of the points that I would like to say about this. The only thing I would say extra is to have another vote would be both illiberal and undemocratic, which would go against Matthew. Matthew and I are secretly actually quite good pals. I like him because he's never got anything right politically, and he likes me because I'm incredibly handsome. It's just a very, very symbiotic relationship. Isn't that right, Matthew?
Well, It absolutely. I never quite know whether you're being complimentary or having a bit of a go, Paul. Like, you know, you're doing it in such a charming way. I can never be quite sure. Look, the great thing is actually that me and Paul met through this channel, and we do get on well. And he's been very encouraging of me, which I really welcome. And he knows I like a good robust debate, which you know as well, Bev. But look, my principles are my principles, and in my heart, I'm a pro-European. That's what's in my heart.
But what do you like about being? Hang on, just what do you? Just tell me, like, what do you like about Europe? Like, even if we don't if we just leave like the EU, the political side to one side for a minute, Matthew. What is it about Europe that appeals to you?
I think it's the internationalism. I think it's working together. I'm actually taking my niece to Paris in August. It'll be my first time in Paris, which I'm really very much looking forward to.
Good luck.
But yeah, well, it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait for it. But yeah, it's the working together, and you know, liberals have always been internationalists, and I don't like the isolation of Brexit. I don't think it's good for us.
How interesting. Can I bring in my American panel or not on this? Because I'm not sure how many boxes we can go to. I'd like to bring you guys in on this, but I'm not sure. We might have to get rid of the England boys for a minute. Made it sound like the football team. I might have to get rid of you two for a minute while I bring in my panel here. Eric, you've been listening to all of that. Your response?
I think it's actually surreal that this was an actual vote, and quite frankly, I think this is a matter of people voting and getting what they voted for, and it makes no sense. You have countries that are attempting to become more multilateral. The world has become so much more smaller, and what we're seeing is when countries are attached to other nations, that gives them greater buying power, gives them greater leverage, it gives them greater negotiating power. That's why you see so many nations of the global south joining the BRICS. They recognize that now what we're seeing is repeated attempts to try to overthrow the dollar, and that's something that they believe that they will eventually be able to do. But again, what it speaks to is a level of global influence and power. And with the UK being basically a nation unto itself, it's basically isolated, and we see now that it's literally like a country without a home. They're isolated and alienated from the United States because Keir Starmer just simply couldn't get along with President Donald Trump, and now they're not connected to the European Union. So where does that leave them?
Yeah, Tiffany.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. So let's start with this, first of all. The Brexit plan was supposed to give something like NHS about £350 million a week, right? Because NHS is notoriously awful. Instead, the last 10 years, we've seen how many hundreds of billions of pounds being used for the illegal immigration. And the illegal immigrant problem and the migrant boat problem is legitimate and has gone through how many different prime ministers at this point, yet nothing has been done to crack down on them. And that was a part of the promise of Brexit. If you fix the illegal immigration problem, you are no longer spending billions and billions of pounds on these people that are coming and using the United Kingdom and the United Kingdom taxpayer as some sort of, I don't know, credit card. Instead, you're giving money to people that need they need help. They need medical help. And you can't not even look at the EU has still retained the fishing licenses and fishing rights in the territorial waters. I mean, there's thing after thing that has happened that was supposed to be enacted through Brexit that never has been. And I am very much in favor of Brexit. I lived in the UK till 2013, and I cannot emphasize enough what a horrible, horrible idea it is to rejoin the EU. Because what's essentially happened in the last 10 years, it's like this patient has cancer. You need surgery for cancer. So they've gone into the surgery, they've sliced open the person, they've opened them up, and then they've had someone else come in and go, oh, well, look, yeah, the cancer's there, let's just stitch them back up. And then they told everyone, well, he had the surgery, but no one has removed the cancer. This is absurdity.
Thank goodness Donald Trump isn't operating, eh? That'd be bad, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I would much rather Donald Trump be operating than Keir Starmer or any labor moron that you guys have running the show over there.
But even since the Brexit, there has been 7 prime ministers in 10 years. That does not speak of a nation that is stable or is somehow a place that people are looking to. And it seems to me like it's a failure of its own people to actually make a colossally bad decision.
The people in charge, Eric. It's not the people.
It's the people in charge, and right now I'm in charge. We have to take a quick break. Matthew Hulbert and Jess Kane, thank you so much for joining us and staying up late. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick look at your weather, and it's ever so nice out there, and then we'll be back.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Met Office extreme heat warnings are in place for today and tomorrow. A red warning over parts of the Midlands, South East Wales and southern England. An amber warning covering most of England and Wales. Temperatures very high, mid to high 30s in places. Not that hot everywhere for Scotland and Northern Ireland. A bit more cloud, some showers across the Western Isles, perhaps drifting into the Northern Isles and the far north of the mainland at times. But most places dry and sunny and hot. Those temperatures widely in the high 20s, low 30s over northern England. Northern Ireland up to 24, 25. Same goes to the central belt of Scotland. But in the south, 34, 35, maybe 37, 38 in one or two places this afternoon. Really quite remarkable temperatures for June. Very hot going into this evening. Not much breeze around. The humidity, that is a key factor. That's why we've got the warnings in place. Humidity is pretty high as well, making it harder to sweat, increasing the likelihood of issues with health. A bit more cloud coming into Northern Ireland and again across the far northwest of Scotland. One or two isolated showers through the day, but most places staying dry. A bit more cloud will spill in across Scotland and Northern Ireland into this evening, but for England and Wales it stays largely dry and clear. Again, a very warm and uncomfortable night like last night. It's going to be very humid. Parts of the south likely to stay over 20 degrees Celsius. So the body doesn't have that time to recover. So again, another reason why we've got the warnings in place. Temperatures further north may dip down into the teens across northern Scotland. A bit more clouds still on Thursday into the northwest with more rain likely to filter in across the Highlands and the Western Isles. Some showers for Northern Ireland. Could see some showers in the southwest later on through tomorrow. But again, for most of England and Wales, hot and sunny. Might be a bit of mist and low cloud on the east coast. Peak of the temperatures tomorrow, again, through the central part of England, down into southeast Wales. High 30s possible. Goodbye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Oh, how lovely. Right. It is the hope that kills you, of course. England have drawn their second group match of the FIFA World Cup with a 0-0 draw against Ghana. That means that England will go into their final game knowing that avoiding defeat against Panama will ensure that they progress through to the knockout rounds. Have I lost you yet? Can you tell my heart isn't in this? 3 points would, of course, be preferable to ensure that England top the group. Is it a reality check for the Three Lions? With me now is Ben Leo, who is in Boston. Ben, who have you got now?
Hello, Bev. Nobody really. It's quite dead. There's a few fans roaming around. Guys, how you doing? How do you feel after the match? Are you disappointed or happy? Optimistic?
We are feeling not surprised, but also quite disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm here for a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So
we wanted to have a fun, and we're not having fun.
So what's your sort of journey here been like? How long have you been here for? Where are you going next?
So we got here on Friday.
Where are you from in the UK?
London, but I live in New York.
Oh wow, lucky you. Are you going to be in New York for the Panama game?
Game.
Yeah. How much did you pay for the ticket?
£650.
£650?
Dollars.
Okay, what, about 400 quid?
Roughly, yeah.
Right.
But I'm low-key happy they lost today because then hopefully that means they'll win with Panama.
Yeah. Well, we drew, but it feels like a loss, I guess.
Yeah.
We should have beaten them. Yeah, I was saying that earlier, because the Saturday game would have been a nothing game, really, if we'd won today.
Yeah,
At least it makes your game more special, I guess.
Fingers crossed.
What's the plan tonight? Where are you going?
Hopefully to get food. Yeah, need some food. We've been drinking all day.
What's on the menu?
Burgers. Yeah.
Big fat American burger.
Big fat burger. Yeah, with
big
some
burgers.
French fries.
Yeah.
And what have you been drinking today? And since when?
We started drinking. We started on the champagne.
Yeah.
That's very posh.
I know. Well,
Champagne. What about lagers?
we were celebrating a birthday.
Whose birthday?
His birthday.
His birthday. And then we went on the beers.
Yeah.
So champers and then what? Sorry.
Champagne
and
then
then
beers.
Okay. And now you need some food to lunch.
Now we need some food.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your trip. See you. Guys, fancy a quick chat? What are you eating? That's the most important.
Oh, a slice of pizza.
Pizza.
How did you get here?
How did I get? Aeroplane. What's your thoughts after the game? Disappointed? You seem in a good mood?
They were in a good mood.
Or was that the beer?
Yeah, it's both, yeah. Oh, you've got to blame Ghana for that, though, haven't you? They turned up to defend for 90 minutes.
They set up well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Set up well, yeah.
I think we were unlucky. That chance with Kane at the end, 99 times out of 100 he scores those, doesn't he?
Even header off a bar as well, and equal, right? Unlucky there as well.
Yeah. Where are you all from in the UK?
Bradford,
all of you? Yeah. I went around Bradford. I did a piece there for GB News.
Innit?
Did you see my piece?
I did, yeah, it's awful, innit? Yeah.
It was the city of multiculturalism.
Yeah.
It was great. It was good. Bradford's great. Honestly, what's the plan for the rest of the night?
Well, we're trying to find places, but everywhere seems to be closing. They just keep going, oh yeah, everything's closed.
That is a true point. there's 4 main bars that have closed early. We were just in a bar there. I was trying to get a pizza, and they closed the kitchen at 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you're hosting the World Cup. Have you felt that from Boston?
Yeah, 100%. There was a Dubliner that was absolutely rammed last night, and then they've closed completely today, so they've not even opened.
Why do you reckon that is?
A lot of them use the excuse of giving the staff a break because of how many fans have been, how overworked they've been. That's what this
I saw a sign on a bar down there saying staff are having a break open in 2 days or so.
That's the Dubliner, it's madness.
It's crazy. It's the World Cup. There's thousands of fans here. You would have thought they're trying to make money. And
The US have ruined the World Cup, man.
You reckon?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's interesting. Lots of people say that they really enjoy the tournament here.
No, disagree, man.
Were you in Dallas? Were you guys in Dallas for the?
We're in Dallas.
Did you like Dallas?
Yeah, it was good. It was
Nashville were better. Nashville's been the best place.
Yeah, everyone's going to Nashville. I need to get myself there.
Yeah, get yourself to Nashville.
Well, look, tell me if you find a bar that's open at this early hour, then let me know because I'll join you.
I'll message you.
Cheers, boys. Enjoy the pizza.
Love you,
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Bev, I also caught up with some other fans immediately after the game a bit earlier. Let's take a quick look at what they said in the aftermath. But you're half English, half American, right? But you're supporting the Three Lions, of course.
Oh, come on, let's go.
How are you feeling after that 0-0?
I'm so mad.
You're mad? Angry mad?
You have no idea. English should have won that by 4-0.
Yeah.
4-0.
Yeah, it was a bit too late, wasn't it, to pile the pressure on the last 20 minutes or so?
That was ridiculous. English should have scored 4 times there. English should have scored 4 times right there.
Are you supporting the USA as well?
Yes, but more English.
Good man.
Come on now.
You greedy so-and-so.
Oh, come on now.
At least you lot played all right last game, USA.
That was a good game. We've been playing right, but I want English. I want the English. Come on now.
Good man. Thank you so much.
No, we should have done better, 100%. But 4-0. How come?
He's showing more English spirit and he's half American.
Look, we've never beat Ghana before. It doesn't matter. But it's better that we didn't lose to them. It doesn't matter. We're still going to the last game. English are the best. Hey, I have a question. It's coming home.
Come on. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home. Football's coming home. Yeah, it's more like it.
I think Tuchel's set the team up wrong.
Oh, really? You're throwing him under the bus already?
I am.
Croatia was so good, though.
Listen, obviously a lot of people were giving him stick about the squads. I was one of them. I was like, we're not going to give him stick until obviously we start playing bad. And today we played bad. We had 2 HGVs at the back. They can't defend. They can't play.
Come on!
This game.
Come on, England!
So there we are, Bev, 0-0. Spirits dampened in some parts, but we look forward now to Panama in New York on Saturday.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much, Ben. Leo there in Boston. We will, of course, be bringing you as much as we can from the World Cup as we hopefully stay in longer and longer. Right, if you're just joining us, let me tell you that Tiffany Marie Brannan is here with me. Paul Cox and Kai Wilshaw are in London, and Eric Ham is here with me in the studio as well. I think we're going to look at something in The Guardian now, are we? Or are we going to talk about football? We're going to look at The Guardian. An artwork by a Turner Prize-winning artist has been removed from the National Portrait Gallery after a row about the role that Winston Churchill played in the 1943 Bengal famine. The Persistence video installation by Helen Camcock was taken down on Monday after a week of criticism as pressure mounted on the gallery. The National Portrait Gallery is facing calls for its removal from a group of 50 peers, including Churchill's grandson, Sir Nicholas Soames, who objected to a line in the piece about his grandfather's role in the event. In the work, Camcock, who narrates the 40-minute piece, discusses Oliver Cromwell's campaigns in Ireland, saying he starved people en masse, a little like the willful starvation of the Indian population by Winston Churchill. The artist Helen Camcock said there is an incredible pressure on artists and arts institutions to bend to external pressure, to be benign at best and silent at worst. I do not accept this pressure. To question, challenge and explore ideas and histories is vital to a healthy society, and art is intrinsic to this. Let me go to my panel on this while I get my head around this story, which appears to have has appeared from nowhere. Right, so do you understand it, fellas in London? Because I'm only seeing this for the first time, Paul Cox. Maybe it's in tomorrow's newspapers. Go.
had read this story, and let's get some sensible opinion on it before you talk to Kai.
Yeah.
Look, this is revisionism once again, isn't it? This is basically looking back and saying, because you know, if you're on the right or if you're a national British fan, then Winston Churchill is one of these people you hold high in high regard as a hero of the past, and in my opinion, rightly so. And nothing annoys the left more than us having a hero on the right. So they, first of all, they do this archaeology, offence archaeology, where they look at Winston Churchill, a man born in, I think, 1884, so he would have opinions and views of that time. He was also in charge of a number of things that did and didn't go well for Great Britain. It doesn't mean that we should have to tear down every portrait, every statue, you know, every celebration of this once great man. We really do not need to do that. And the only reason we would do that is because it's the sort of politics of envy. Who can you hold up high on the left? Very, very few people. Over to you, Kai.
What a load of nonsense. Paul, Winston Churchill, I think, would have been glad that the actions that he took in ending the war, giving us our vital freedoms of expression and artistic freedom of expression, that the fact this installation exists is thanks to him. I think that he would be horrified that this, instead of having a healthy debate about somebody's legacy, instead of discussing, you know, the pros and cons of British actions across the world, instead of that, as this artist has said, as Kamak has said, the NPG is bowing to pressure and can't let its own visitors make up their own minds about what they think about Winston Churchill. I don't think anybody should be beyond reproach. And I think it's great that we live in a country where, through art, through our amazing national galleries and museums, we can sort of have a bit of that discussion. Why can't we have that discussion? Now, personally, I don't agree. I don't agree with the view put forward in this video. But why can we not talk about it?
I was in a place called Annapolis this weekend. I'm sure you two are both familiar with Annapolis. It's not far away, like 45 minutes an hour down the road from here. Absolutely beautiful, historical significance. Not least because it was one of the places where, of course, we English people did some major colonisation, right? And when you look at what we did here in America, I know this is a little perhaps indelicate given we're looking at the 250th anniversary of independence, but we were blooming amazing. We were amazing. I'm so sorry for the pillaging that went on around the world. But in terms of bringing in education, sanitation, religion, I mean, we were outstanding for this tiny little island on a map. I don't know who we thought we were. But you realise that we aren't taught that, Tiffany. Yeah. We are never taught that. And it really struck me standing in this beautiful property in Annapolis.
It makes me angry, Bev. It makes me angry that we have claimed that Britain, I mean, the greatest empire on the planet Earth for how many hundreds of years? We've devolved it into, oh, those terrible colonizing imperialists. Yeah. In the same way that Winston Churchill is my personal hero. Same thing with Margaret Thatcher. I know that's not popular on the other side either. But, I mean, the man burned his own portrait that Parliament gave him when he retired. That's how sensitive he was to bad art. So I think that, I mean, the man doesn't like bad art. He was a painter, let's not forget. So he was an artist in his own right. That is not art. That is revisionist garbage. That is propaganda. It's no different than all these women that are become popular now with, this is disgusting. As I say, I know it's disgusting. It doesn't want to come out of my mouth, but here we go. They're putting their menstruation on mattresses and framing it, and that's now in the art galleries that I have to go to in New York and such. That's not art. That's just gross. And the same thing with this. You can't say Winston Churchill starved people willfully to win. Sorry, that's just not the reality, and the man loves history.
Very briefly, Eric, your response to revisionist art.
Oh, I think we can call it revisionist. I think we can call it art, because I think what art is supposed to do is it is supposed to make us think, and it is also supposed to be provocative.
It's supposed to tell the truth.
It's certainly that. Another hour still to come. Let's have a quick look at your weather.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Met Office extreme heat warnings are in place for today and tomorrow. A red warning over parts of the Midlands, South East Wales and southern England, an amber warning covering most of England and Wales. Temperatures very high, mid to high 30s in places. Not that hot everywhere for Scotland and Northern Ireland. A bit more cloud, some showers across the Western Isles, perhaps drifting into the Northern Isles and the far north of the mainland at times. But most places dry and sunny and hot. Those temperatures widely in the high 20s, low 30s over northern England. Northern Ireland up to 24, 25. Same goes to the central belt of Scotland. But in the south, 34, 35, maybe 37, 38 in one or two places this afternoon. Really quite remarkable temperatures for June. Very hot going into this evening. Not much breeze around. The humidity, that is a key factor. That's why we've got the warnings in place. Humidity is pretty high as well, making it harder to sweat, increasing the likelihood of issues with health. A bit more cloud coming into Northern Ireland and again across the far northwest of Scotland. One or two isolated showers through the day, but most places staying dry. A bit more cloud will spill in across Scotland and Northern Ireland into this evening, but for England and Wales it stays largely dry and clear. Again, a very warm and uncomfortable night like last night. It's going to be very humid. Parts of the south likely to stay over 20 degrees Celsius, so the body doesn't have that time to recover. So again, another reason why we've got the warnings in place. Temperatures further north may dip down into the teens across northern Scotland. A bit more clouds still on Thursday into the northwest, with more rain likely to filter in across the Highlands and the Western Isles. Some showers for Northern Ireland. Could see some showers in the southwest later on through tomorrow, but again, for most of England and Wales, hot and sunny. Might be a bit of mist and low cloud on the east coast. Peak of the temperatures tomorrow, again, through the central part of England, down into southeast Wales. High 30s possible. Goodbye.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bo, they are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis, in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again
to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome, this is The Late Show live from Washington, D.C. This is GB News with stories shaping Great Britain and America tonight. This.
Going to every tournament thinking we're going to win it. This is no different, but I'll tell you what, there's one difference. We are going to win this one. Come on!
Oh, that was the hope in Manchester before the disappointment. England drew 0-0 with Ghana after a frustrating World Cup match. We're going to be going back to Ben Leo in Boston shortly, and we might have to apologise for the language beforehand. Also tonight, this man
would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do.
One of the world's most influential conservative commentators, Tucker Carlson, has denounced the Republican Party. Thanks to divisions along the fault lines of Israel and Iran, the war is tearing Donald Trump's online coalition apart. Will it matter when it comes to the midterms? Plus. Another case of hopes dashed there. It's been 10 years since Britain decided to leave the EU in the referendum. The dust has settled, but did you ever get what you think you were promised? Plus tonight, Sadiq Khan has blamed President Trump for an increase in death threats against him. We're going to be debating that at this hour. I am Bev Turner, and this is The Late Show Live. Very warm welcome to our third and final hour. I'm joined in the studio this evening by US political analyst Eric Ham, political strategist and podcast host Tiffany Marie Brannan, and in London, GB News contributor Kai Wilshaw and GB News contributor Paul Cox. Thank you all. We are on proposal watch for Tiffany, who says every time she's on this show, somebody does message to say, will you marry me?
It's my only hope, you guys. I think this is the only kind of dating app I will ever do.
Do you know, I have to say, the advert breaks are very interesting. I've been having the complete lowdown on Tiffany's love life here.
It's atrocious and very sad.
Poor Eric Ham has had to sit there awkwardly flicking through Instagram, pretending he's not listening to us. Right.
Yeah, no alcohol. This is why I took the break and got coffee. I was like, let me just
you
step
knew
up
there was an ulterior motive.
But you're rocking the stubble tonight, Eric. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very nice.
I didn't have time to shave.
One part of your head should have hair, so that's great.
On this show, Eric, we give with one hand and we take with the next. You know that by now. Right, moving on to our main news this evening. Britain is set to have its 7th Prime Minister in just a decade. From 1979 to 2007, we had just 3 Prime Ministers. There's your hero, Tiffany, I have to say, one of mine as well, Margaret Thatcher. But in the year 2022 alone, there were 3 occupants of Downing Street. What does this say about the state of the British political system? Is it a sign of a healthy democracy that Prime Ministers can easily be evicted when they fall short? Or is it just chaos? How do the markets react to this constant volatility? Let me ask my panel this as we get started on this hour. Tiffany, when you look at the UK and how easily we do dispatch people from that building, is it a good thing to be able to get rid of them, or does it just lead to mass disruption?
Yeah, I think it's generally in the last more recent years led to chaos because the public opinion constantly changes. The way that we do it in the United States that kind of prevents this is we have the 4-year term of the president that can only be really changed through either, impeachment or him voluntarily leaving office. But what we do have is the midterms. So the midterms can, change along with the public opinion or situationally, like we had with COVID. But ultimately, you do have that hard stability of having the same man or woman sitting in the Oval Office, which I think the UK, it's become abused a bit, the rotating door.
Eric, just explain to our British viewers, the midterms, they will happen in November here this year. Why does that shift the balance of power?
Well, it doesn't automatically shift the balance of power. Typically what happens, or historically what has happened, is the party that is in power, so the party which controls the White House, often loses seats in those midterm elections. And I think oftentimes it's, what you see in the United States is people are more comfortable when you have divided government, where you have one party that controls one chamber of power, which is Congress or the White House, and then you have the other party in charge of the other. So that's what people are typically happy with. It oftentimes leads to gridlock and things not getting done. But again, what we often know and what we often hear is we get the politicians we vote for. And so I think that's what we're seeing play out in the United States often. And I think what you're seeing in the UK, where you all are, is a bit more chaotic. But again, I think this is what the people want.
Paul, do people want this sort of change? I'm really torn about this because in some ways I think it's great that we can get them out, or the parties can kick them out if they're not popular, but just kind of make a bit of a mockery of the idea that they are meant to be there for the full term.
Yeah, look, 7 in 10 years, and Andy Burnham, if it's to be Andy Burnham, would be the 7th Prime Minister since Brexit. That's incredible, really. When in that time you believe there's only been 3, in that time there has been 3 general elections, which also is pretty unprecedented, to be fair. But we've had some pretty turbulent politics. But really, if you're going to have 3 general elections in 10 years, then to have only, to have had 3 PMs would have been fair. But to have 7 is a bit of a nonsense, really. They get a 5-year mandate. Obviously, the party gets a mandate, but generally, you aren't voting. You aren't voting for the leader of that party, really. If you think back, 2019 was purely a Brexit vote. We needed to get Brexit done. There was a complete stalemate in Parliament. Boris Johnson ran entirely on getting Brexit done. He won with a huge landslide and mandate. Barely lasted because of COVID, really, because of COVID and some of the ways that he conducted himself, but largely because of COVID. And then since then and into 2024 with Keir Starmer, and Keir Starmer's been a disaster for this country. However, we're going to get Andy Burnham in sometime in the next month, who will have no mandate whatsoever. Now, you could argue that they still have the Labour mandate, but we've already seen just today alone that Andy Burnham doesn't believe in the Labour mandate, so he's going to run this country the way he sees fit without anyone voting for that whatsoever. So it is a problem, Bev. It's a problem for democracy, and it's a problem for fairness. If all things were fair now, even though everything I've just said, we would go back to a general election and choose a party and leader that we'd want to lead this country.
Yeah, I think we probably would, Kai, but actually it's mainly under the Conservatives that we had all this chopping and changing with leaders, because they make it so easy to kick people out the front door.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if we wanted to have an issue with the Prime Minister coming in midterm and taking over somebody else's mandate, we should have had that issue and that discussion back when the Tories did it multiple times. Look, we talk often about how big Keir Starmer's majority is. We don't live in a presidential system. That wasn't just a vote for the man. I don't believe those people who tell you today that it was. This man is not a charismatic, saviour of the British people. He wasn't then, he isn't now, right? People voted for their Labour MPs, and the Labour MPs, it looks like right now, are overwhelmingly behind Andy Burnham. Add on to that the result in Makerfield, which, look, yes, it's just one constituency, but the strength of that win, what it tells us about being able to win over voters on the left and some on the right, because, frankly, you can't win 55% of the vote without having won over some reformists, some conservatives. I think that, as well, just shows Andy Burnham does have, he has some sort of mandate, and that's that, really. But it is extraordinary, isn't it? the topic of changing.
Let's have a quick look. One of these prime ministers in the revolving door was Boris Johnson, and he spoke to Christopher Hope today. He said a few words about Keir Starmer. Let's have a quick look, and then we can discuss.
It just wasn't his skill set. It turns out that he simply had no idea what to do, and when he did have the right idea, his party wouldn't let him do it.
So I think you were saying he did have the right ideas, but his party wouldn't let him do it. I mean, I don't care what Boris Johnson thinks about anything. I have no interest in what that man has to say whatsoever. But Tiffany, your thoughts on what he said?
I mean, I can't stand Keir Starmer I think the man's very weak. I think he has no real mandate, and I think that we've seen the results of that. We've seen the result of a man that can't decide if he's in or out on any given subject, except for allowing more illegal immigrants into the United Kingdom and taking more money away. So I really am not, surprised by what Boris Johnson said here, but again, I agree with you, Bev.
Kai, what did you make of what Boris Johnson said there?
Yeah, look, I think what he's talking about is he's talking a bit about the Parliamentary Labour Party there, isn't he? That his Labour Party wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do. And in particular, Keir Starmer's got a lot of stake, hasn't he, for not cutting welfare, right? It's come as a big issue in this defence investment plan, and it's touted as the main reason why Andy Burnham might fail, where Keir Starmer also failed, right? But I think the circumstances of how that rebellion, the welfare rebellion, happened last year are so unique. Keir Starmer had lost lots of the authority that he had by U-turning in the previous 2 months on other big policy issues. And also his number 10 at that time was dysfunctional. They were treating their MPs like total rubbish, frankly. I think with a new face, with a new Prime Minister, who's a bit more left-wing, a bit cooler, has that bump in popularity from the British public, I think he can do some of the difficult things that Boris Johnson was referring to there, some of the right ideas, and get them through this Labour Party. It's not an ungovernable Labour Party by any stretch of the imagination.
Paul, you're shaking your head a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, we're really hyping up Andy Burnham here, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we know nothing of this man, really. He appears to be a caricature of himself. He only ever says the things he believes the audience in front of him want to hear, so we have yet to identify what his vision and mission is. He was 1 minute he doesn't understand what a man and a woman is, the next minute it's all rather clear in his mind. 1 minute he wants to rejoin the EU, the next minute he's faced with Makerfield, who was 67% to leave the EU, so he says, no, I don't think we'd do that now. I don't trust him already. He's essentially stabbed Keir Starmer in the back, so we know he's dodgy. Considering he's internal to the party, we know the whole party's dodgy. Look at the way they stood in that selfie, all there smiling behind the new Messiah. Give it 6 weeks and reality will land, and there will be problems for Andy Burnham in the same way there are problems for Keir Starmer. He is no different.
I thought that selfie was just awful. It was so self-congratulatory, and you're thinking, do you stand for anything, you insensitive bunch of arsonists? I'm going to use your word, Kai, because it took me by surprise earlier when you talked about someone being, he's an absolute arsonist. I was so glad you finished that. I'm going to have that. Eric, just on this idea that, the UK might be horribly disrupted by these politicians coming and going, but actually, I do like the fact that we can. Imagine if we had 2-3 more years with Starmer. We'd all be complaining about the fact that we couldn't kick him out, wouldn't we?
Well, if this were a corporation, the stock price would probably be at an all-time low because the fact that you have a revolving door of leadership, it just makes it difficult to determine where the nation is actually headed. And more importantly, what does it actually want? I think that's what we're seeing from so much turnover. And it's not a good look, particularly for a nation as influential as the UK is. We're talking about a nation that's a P5 member. We're talking talking about a nation that has the 6th largest economy in the world, and to say nothing of the cultural impact. And the fact that we are seeing so much turnover, so much change, it's at a time when all of Europe is watching very closely what Russia is doing. It's a very, I think, untenable moment in time for the nation.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the markets, it's the worst possible thing is this sort of disruption. Although it'll be very interesting to see what happens if Rachel Reeves does get the push, which is what the whispers are tonight, that Andy Burnham's going to get rid of her. A bit of a mean question, this, because I haven't prepared this, but who should take over Rachel Reeves, Paul Cox? Do you have a strong opinion on that? Who would make a good chancellor?
I have a very strong opinion of who it shouldn't be, for sure. It shouldn't be Ed Miliband, because he's a net zero zealot, and he will... You know, we need to increase budgets all over the place, and we're spending £10 billion on net zero per annum. Now, you could take all that back, you still wouldn't affect the earth, and you could give that straight to anybody else, the nurses, health, defence. So it shouldn't be Ed Miliband. I really don't know. The only people I'm kind of supportive of in the Labour cabinet are probably Al Carnes and maybe even John Healey, because of the way that they've behaved in recent times. But I don't know enough about them, and the same we don't know enough about Andy Burnham. Yeah. If he needs to choose somebody that's going to deliver his vision, and he needs to tell us what that vision is. So it's very difficult to say who it should be, but I know who it shouldn't be, and that is Ed Miliband.
And do you know who I'd really like it to be? Somebody that knows anything about money and business and finance and economics. It doesn't seem like you're asking too much, does it, for a chancellor that might have more experience than just shaking the piggy bank up and down, which is what we're probably going to end up with, Kai. Because there's not a single person in this Labour Party that has done anything ever successful in business. Who on earth? Like, who is going to be met with a fanfare when they go, ladies and gentlemen, your new Chancellor Exchequer is... Who?
Wes Streeting.
Wes Streeting.
Look, Bev, I agree with you. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary in the States, has heaps and heaps and heaps of business experience, and we couldn't even hold a candle up to that. It is an extraordinary comparison, isn't it? But in Britain, you know, the reality is, for a very long time, we haven't we don't have the authority in the same way to pick somebody into our cabinet that the president has. They have to ideally have run to be an MP. If not, they can be put into the Lords, but that's not done that often, right? And so we don't have the same sort of deep expertise in our cabinet in certain issues that we would hope for, and the only thing you can hope for instead of that is that they have a good team around them, that they have good instincts, and they can make good decisions. I think from everything I can see, Wes Streeting does that, and he will be led not by ideology, but by what seems, by the facts and the evidence that is presented to him, seems like the best route forward. So, I mean, Wes Streeting for Chancellor, that's what I say.
Is Alan Sugar a Labour man?
He used to be. I looked into this recently, you know.
I know.
He used to be,
He's a
but
lord.
in recent years, I think
He'll do.
not.
We'll have him.
He'll do. Well, yeah, I don't know. The dial-up telephones thing, I mean, that's a bit old school, isn't it? There are some good... Come on, who are some other good business leaders in the House of Lords?
Okay, he was a major donor.
Labour.
Alan Sugar
Lord
Alan Sugar was a major donor to the UK Labour Party until 2015.
Yeah.
He publicly quit the Labour Party in 2015. Oh, well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe we can have him back. I'm just trying to think of anybody that knows anything about finance and money and getting the wheels of...
Well, it's a party of mediocrity. Well, so you do not favour success.
Yes.
So you just got a whole porridge of people that are pretty inadequate but have got a nice haircut.
The last time that we had a Chancellor who did that job from the Lords was in the early 19th century. I think it has been done. And there were some rumours, or maybe not, well, there's some rumours today that maybe somebody... So Andy Burnham has two big economic advisors that he's been talking to, one called Andy Haldane, who used to work at the top ranks of the Bank of England, and one called Jim O'Neill, who I think coined the BRICS, you know, that acronym to describe emerging markets. He was a chairman at Goldman Sachs. He is a peer, and so, you know, could he go in and be the Chancellor from the Lords or somebody similar? I don't know. It would be a break with tradition.
So the BRICS is obviously Brazil, Russia, India, China collaboration in terms of currency, just for anybody that doesn't know that. Let's have another quick look at that interview with Christopher Hope and Boris Johnson. Here it is.
He's a pig in a poke. He's a masquerade Mancunian mystery.
It's anti-democratic if he becomes PM.
Totally. He's a masquerade Mancunian mystery. We do not know what he stands for. It's a complete pig in a poke. And Mr. Han, I think the public are going to demand some pretty early answers from him. Now, I think that, personally, I think you'll find it very difficult to continue for long without going for a general election.
So there we go, searing intellectual insights from Boris Johnson, just calling him a masquerade Mancunian mystery. Thinking if he just throws clever little words in our face, we're not going to pay any attention and we're all going to find him hilarious. I don't find him hilarious at all. He's a sesquipedalian idiot, in my opinion. Anybody can use long words, Boris Johnson. So, go on. I don't really know what to ask you about. Why do we care what Boris Johnson thinks about Andy Burnham?
Because Boris Johnson still wants to be in the limelight. Therefore, he does the interviews like this, acting like the rest of the public still wants his opinion on things. And I think, you know, they're looking for opinions on Burnham because that's what's popular right now. But I do agree that they will come collecting money the minute he gets into office, and they're going to realize he's the sheriff of Nottingham, going around like Robin Hood, stealing all the money from everybody and just trying to droll it out to his little minions.
Andy Burnham's going to come in, Eric Ham, he's going to take from the rich, he's going to give to the poor, and then all the rich are going to leave and they're all going to try and come and live in America.
Is that a bad thing?
It's a bad thing, it's British.
Eric, what show are you on right now? Come on.
Get with the program.
Kai, is that what's going to happen?
No. I think it's really underpriced. I know that people are talking about Andy Burnham as if he has no plan, as if he's just going to be Keir Starmer 2.0. There is an alternative to all of this. Right? He's talked about as a career politician. Yeah, maybe he has a very strong understanding of what that Manchesterism looks like if you extrapolate it to the rest of the country. We've had some indications of where he might go. Now, look, public ownership of utilities, we haven't talked about that very much yet, but that's a program that many Reform voters really buy into. The essentials, that the basic cost of operating in this country has become too expensive. That is not a left-wing issue. It's not just the domain of the left. It is a concern that is shared by people across this country, that capitalism as it works in the UK right now is in a sense a vulture capitalism that deprives many businesses, asset strips businesses, and then sells them off to the States. So actually there is a model here where I can see that lending some populist fire to the Burnham vision might win him more plaudits than a boring technocratic Starmer vision could ever do.
But there's no substance to this, is there? Sorry, Bev. But there really is no substance to Andy Burnham. It's been incredibly performative. This is a Scouser who says he loves Manchester, who went to Makerfield and told everyone he loves chips and gravy, and I like so is me. And they all bought that, and all of a sudden he's become this great person that's had all these years in politics. He left parliamentary politics really with the tail between his legs because he was a very unsuccessful health minister. Went up to Manchester, got the buses running about right, and is now coming back to save the country. On what basis? He has got no more qualifications than me.
Paul, that is just not right. That is just not right. Paul,
I like chips and gravy, me.
If the people of Manchester, right, if you really think that the people of Manchester aren't canny enough to figure someone out after so many terms as as Manchester mayor, then you are doing them a disservice. But he did Kim Jong-un levels of popularity in Manchester.
Good comparison.
He has
Lovely.
He has won elections like nobody could win elections, right? And then he won Bakerfield by 55%. If he was such a flip-flopper, nobody knows what he stands for, nobody knows where he's from, then why did people vote for him time and time again at such record numbers? The idea that we don't know who Burnham is nonsense.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why. Because he's not posh. It's that simple. He has appealed to people because he talks like a northerner and he can make jokes about Oasis and Manchester and Manchester United and Everton Football Club. That is it. Because the British public are crying out for someone that they think is like them. That is the success of Andy Burnham. They know that Starmer is a human rights lawyer. He's all about process. They can't relate to him. He had no chemistry. He had no chemistry with Donald Trump. You know, we're sick of it. We're sick of the likes of Boris Johnson kicking sand in our eyes with his alliteration, thinking that we're going to think he's hilarious and we're going to doff our cap and tug our forelocks to him. That's the problem with politics in the UK. And Andy Burnham, who admittedly went to Cambridge, but he's state school educated, he's from a proper like lower middle class, higher working class background in the north, born in 1970, We are all hoping he's going to get it and he's going to understand what it's like for real normal people who are just trying to make ends meet. And I don't know if he is. I don't know. That's the truth of it. I was complimentary about him last night and I got an absolute kicking on the inbox because I want to give him a go. I want him to do well. I'm not tribalistic.
Well,
I'm
you're
not
stuck with him, so
political.
you want him to win because what is your other option? I mean, the guy's been a socialist publicly since he was 15 years old. He's been a member of Labour his entire life, but he is your only option supposedly right now. So what other choice do you have than to want the best for the British people?
But you see, if his vision, he calls himself a pro-business socialist, doesn't he? But I want to see what that looks like. If he says to Amazon, I'm going to tax you in this country, but I'm going to give some of that tax to small businesses and pubs and hospitality, I'm on board. I'm with you. But if that's not what socialist pro-business looks like in 2026, so the problem is these terms don't make any sense anymore in 2026. None of us know what the definitions of these ridiculous words are anymore because the dichotomy is gone. And that is a big part of it.
Like Democratic Socialists of America, what does that even mean?
Exactly. So he can come in and he can use the words about who he is, but until we actually look in the whites of his eyes when he stands behind that lectern at number 10 and he tells us what he believes in, we do not know what we're going to get. And I think the British public are going to have a very short attention span and very short patience with him, actually, to see what he delivers. We're going to carry this on in just a minute, but we're going to go back to Ben in Boston to see if there's any more drunk England fans stumbling around at 9:30 p.m. in
and
Boston.
They scarpered. Where was the window? I can't see it, Bev. Somewhere around there. For now, good night from Boston. England 0-0, a little bit of a lacklustre performance. They tried to turn the screw in the last 20 minutes or so, but the England fans, I think they're getting an early night, to be honest, Bev. There's a big game against Panama, as I said, in New York on Saturday, so let's regroup, let's get some rest, get your heads down, and hopefully they'll be in full voice ahead of the game in New York on Saturday.
Are you, Ben Leo, are you going to be on breakfast
All good, boys.
in about
Thank you.
three and a half hours? Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's gone, I think. He'll probably be on breakfast in 3.5 hours. Sorry about that. He was next to a very posh makeup shop there. He could have gone in and got himself a nice bit of bronzer. Moving on, Tucker Carlson. We're talking about this now? So, Tucker Carlson, if you don't know who he is, then where have you been? Well, he has withdrawn support from the Republican Party, saying there is, quote, no chance he would back them in the run-up to the midterms. Now, Tucker Carlson is a former Fox News anchor, very influential commentator, has one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And he's repeatedly criticised the Iran war recently. He's claimed that America was pushed into the conflict by Benjamin Netanyahu. On the podcast, he's now said, how could I or any American voter support a political party that is not loyal to the United States? So basically what this means is that Tucker Carlson is one of the several, actually, growing number of formerly MAGA podcasters who are saying that President Trump is on the side of Israel rather than the side of America, and he believes that the Iran war has exposed these kind of fractures within Trump and the MAGA movement. I think we're going to talk to a guest now. Republican strategist Amy Tarkanian is with me. Amy, thank you very much for joining me. So my assessment there of what's gone wrong with Tucker Carlson, feel free to pick it apart if I got anything wrong there, Amy.
No, you had everything correct. And when Tucker actually left Fox News, he took a major part of the audience with him to his podcast. You know, he actually stemmed from the populist movement and was very anti-establishment. He is somebody who's been extremely vocal against portions of the Republican Party, in particular the MAGA movement. But, you know, he's also quick to call out Democrats as well. So I think the more vocal he is, the more independent that he remains, so to speak, the better and happier his audience and his base will be. He'll be more valuable to his base the more he remains as a populist.
And just tell our British audience, Amy, how significant his contribution was to getting Trump elected.
Sure. I mean, it was massive. He was also a huge supporter of Vice President Vance prior to him being vice president when he ran for U.S. Senate. So he was an enormous voice for those both gentlemen in getting elected. He felt, like many Republicans did, that we finally had somebody with a backbone, somebody who was going to focus on American priorities, who was going to make sure that America was able to exude strength but still focus here at home. Most voters, quite honestly, are still concerned about inflation, the economy, illegal immigration, crime. And so, you know, that those are very important issues, but I think you do have a major faction going on, in particular with the Republican Party, as to what does America first actually mean now? Because that definition seems to have shifted. And I think that's what Tucker's actually done so well on pointing out. Does it truly mean that we're going to protect our borders and we're going to keep everyone home? We're going to keep everything here at home? Or does that mean we're going to flex and we're going to show strength? And I don't want to use the word bully, but I guess I'll just go ahead and use it. Are we gonna still bully other countries and showing, you know, you need to stay away from us, leave us alone, by still going into their home turf? So, you know, the definition has kind of blurred.
And he literally was one of the people who would be on the phone to President Trump, Tucker Carlson, advising him on all sorts of international issues. He was here in the Rose Garden at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, just down the road from where I sit now. He was in and out of the Oval Office. He was one of Trump's closest confidants. So that tells us how significant this issue of Israel has become, and particularly the behaviour of Benjamin Netanyahu amongst politics in America. Do you see that dying down anytime soon, Amy, or is it only going to get worse?
Well, at this point, it's hard to tell because we don't really see the end. When is the end of this going to actually take place? You know, we had the president actually saying that it was going to end quite quickly, and here we are. You know, it's actually created a lot of skepticism as to, as you mentioned, Israel. Are we in this because America truly has an investment, or are we invested in it because of Israel? And that's where the skepticism comes in.
Yeah. And Tucker's not alone. He's part of this group of very influential podcasters around the world. Candace Owens was formerly Trump supporting, absolutely not now. Megyn Kelly was Trump supporting, absolutely not now. Tucker Carlson. Can Trump win a convincing number of seats in the midterms without that very powerful, accumulative voice online?
Well, he can, but of course it'll make it extremely difficult. And this is another issue that the second term MAGA movement in particular is facing, where if you don't fall in line 100%, then you are ostracized. And they don't blink. They don't blink twice on making sure that that it is known, it is well known that you are no longer welcome if you do not fall in line, lock and step. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, Amy, fantastic. Republican strategist there, Amy Tarkanian. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got to come to you, Tiffany. I can see your body language here. You all have strong opinions on this.
Me have strong opinions, Bev? What?
She's about to get a husband.
Yeah. Well, we have had one. We have had a couple of proposals, but somebody that said he's already been married doesn't want to get married again, but he'll live in sin with you.
I won't do that. I love Jesus too much.
Go on. So, in terms of Tucker Carlson and the effect this will have, having lost these very influential cheerleaders, for that is what they were for President Trump in the run-up to this election, particularly, and a little bit as well in the first, but very much in this last election. How damaging is it?
Incredibly damaging. And what's frustrating to me is watching people like Tucker Carlson go down this crazy route. It's like watching a beloved family member or pet suddenly get dementia and go crazy and start walking into walls. And you're going, and you're like, you want to fix it and you want to try to fix it. What is important for, especially for the viewers in the UK to understand, is that there is a split within the Conservative Party. One of us call each other, we basically are either neocons or natcons. That's kind of what we internally call each other. I identify as a natcon, and think of a neocon as more of like the Bush conservative, very pro-war, very Dick Cheney, very much like willing to get involved in foreign wars. So the natcons are really, we're the ones that helped, you know, Trump become Trump, and we believe that in the America First foreign policy. That being said, I was very pro the war in Iran because I truly believe that by being America first, it means we have to protect our foreign interests. It means we have to fight back against China. It means we have to go on the offense and the defense and fight against terrorist organizations that want to undermine and destroy Western civilization and my country and your country. So people like Tucker Carlson, they've become so myopic in their view and so, you know, spouting anti-Semitic rants and platforming people like Nick Fuentes, that it is disgusting and vile to where any problem now, you see a lot of these conservatives that have been co-opted and brainwashed by whatever they're saying on their podcast, suddenly hate the Jewish people, hate Israel, hate anyone that stands or supports anything remotely related to Israel, and blames everything on the Jews. And that's evil, and that's where I really, really get sick to my stomach and angry at the Tucker Carlsons of the world.
I have to push back with just provide a little bit of balance here. Of course, they aren't here to defend themselves. They would say it is the foreign policy of Netanyahu that they object to. It isn't individual Jewish people. It is bombing indiscriminately at Palestine. Sure. And it is also, they would say, going way too far in terms of continuing to bomb Lebanon and some parts of Iran as well. Eric, come into this because you can't underestimate, I think, so you can't overestimate how useful those online voices were, particularly in terms of the younger voters in the last election. As a lot of the young men who, this phrase, they lent Trump their vote, and it was because they trust these voices. So these young people, this young cohort predominantly now, they have to decide, who do they trust? Do they trust Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens? Do they trust President Trump? Where are they going to land?
Well, when you look at the last election, people like Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, Joe Rogan, these were like part of like those four horsemen that just galvanized just massive audiences for Donald Trump and also down ballot. They changed the election, the electorate. I mean, you had a larger number of African-American men supporting Republican candidates. You had Latino voters that were supporting Republicans. And I think a lot of that had to do with this massive messaging that we saw take place. For example, it was a big deal when Kamala Harris went on Fox News and she got like 6.8 million people that watched that, and that was a huge record. But then Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan's show and got like 40 million people to actually watch that. And the fact that they were able to play that interview over and over and over again, you cannot speak to how influential that has been politically for the right. And now to have I mean, Charlie Kirk, rest his soul, is gone. Tucker Carlson is now politically gone. You know, I wrote a book in 2013 called The GOP Civil War, Inside the Battle for the Soul of the Republican Party. And that talked about this divide that was taking place after Barack Obama's second term election. Could we be seeing that take place now as Donald Trump is coming into lame duck status? It's certainly possible. And when you have a voice this huge, this influential, who is so openly and willing to actually buck Donald Trump, I think it's something that people need to watch, especially when we're heading into an all-important midterm election where it looks like Donald Trump's party could actually lose. This is something that I think is massive.
And it's a story actually about the media landscape, this, as much as it is about political parties, because we don't really have the equivalent in the UK, guys, do we? Because that podcast space hasn't exploded in the same way that it has here in America. I guess the comparison for us would be the BBC versus, I don't know, GBNews, you know, and where people are going to find their political information from and how important that is going to be, Kai, because we don't have that same influential online space. And in fact, the guys we've been talking about, the Joe Rogan, Tucker, Candace, they're all still huge in the UK as well. They just haven't quite put their noses into our politics yet.
Yeah, you're right to an extent. I mean, there are some of these podcasts like the News Agents and what are the other ones? I've never watched them, I'll be honest with you.
The rest is politics.
They're quite centrist daddy. They don't have that same thing that America has, which is these big, glitzy star names up in lights. You talked about Megyn Kelly, you talked about Tucker Carlson, obviously this story's about him. I mean, you don't have those names that can really sway and swing elections, swing the voters in the same way. We don't have that star power, you're right. But this is fascinating, isn't it?
Like, it's literally us. It's GBNews. We are Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and Joe Rogan combined in the UK. You know, that is what this channel is to some extent, Paul, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely it is. Look, it's on the right in America with podcasters that have come from mainstream media. It's almost an experiment playing out in front of our eyes. They are no longer chasing ratings, they're playing a game against the algorithm. It's like a massive political casino. And what you can see with everybody, Megyn, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, when they're let loose and they're able to just do whatever they want, they find that they're chasing bigger and bigger and bigger numbers. And of course, the only way to do that is to follow the algorithm. And the algorithm keeps pushing them further and further and further out into the peripheries of the political discussion. And that's where they end up finding themselves, and they have to stay there. Because once you lean on the door, you fall all the way through. It's very difficult to come back. So Tucker Carlson has gone all the way through the door with regards to Israel, and has garnered a whole new audience as a result, which are propping up his figures. He can't turn back on that now, and he's already admitted he is politically homeless as a result. It's not like in this country where you've now got 4 or 5 parties you can vote for. You either got the Republican Party under Donald Trump, or you've got the Democrats. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, right, still to come this evening. Thank you, guys. A bit of this. Well, that is a pair of Bens in heaven. That was Ben Leo last night, but as you can see from tonight, England fans are now pretty underwhelmed. We'll be looking into why it was such a drab affair next. Don't go anywhere. Quick look at your lovely weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Met Office extreme heat warnings are in place for today and tomorrow. A red warning over parts of the Midlands, South East Wales and southern England, an amber warning covering most of England and Wales. Temperatures very high, mid to high 30s in places. Not that hot everywhere for Scotland and Northern Ireland, a bit more cloud, some showers across the Western Isles, perhaps drifting into the Northern Isles and the far north of the mainland at times. But most places dry and sunny and hot. Those temperatures widely in the high 20s, low 30s over northern England. Northern Ireland up to 24, 25. Same goes to the central belt of Scotland. But in the south, 34, 35, maybe 37, 38 in one or two places this afternoon. Really quite remarkable temperatures for June. Very hot going into this evening. Not much breeze around. The humidity, that is a key factor. That's why we've got the warnings in place. Humidity is pretty high as well, making it harder to sweat, increasing the likelihood of issues with health. A bit more cloud coming into Northern Ireland and again across the far northwest of Scotland. One or two isolated showers through the day, but most places staying dry. A bit more cloud will spill in across Scotland and Northern Ireland into this evening, but for England and Wales it stays largely dry and clear. Again, a very warm and uncomfortable night like last night. It's going to be very humid. Parts of the south likely to stay over 20 degrees Celsius. So the body doesn't have that time to recover. So again, another reason why we've got the warnings in place. Temperatures further north may dip down into the teens across northern Scotland. A bit more clouds still on Thursday into the northwest with more rain likely to filter in across the Highlands and the Western Isles. Some showers for Northern Ireland. Could see some showers in the southwest later on through tomorrow. But again, for most of England and Wales, hot and sunny. Might be a bit of mist and low cloud on the east coast. Peak of the temperatures tomorrow, again, through the central part of England, down into southeast Wales. High 30s possible. Goodbye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, as you can tell from our coverage with Ben Leo this evening, and particularly Sophie in Manchester, the fans kind of drunk up and went home. It wasn't exactly disastrous for England, but there was nothing to get excited about. What went wrong? What went right? Let's ask a man who knows. Senior reporter at the Daily Mail, Nick Peter. Nick, good evening. Thank you for joining us yet again. Right, what happened tonight? Why the 0-0?
Oh, Bev, really, after the highs of Dallas just over a week ago to really the lows of Boston, that game matched the weather. It was drab, it was grey, it was drizzling, it was lacklustre. There was just no there was no sparkle to it. England, completely different team from what we saw in Dallas in that thrilling 4-2 win last week. It was, 0-0. Against Ghana, who are 64th in the rankings, and England are 4th. You would have expected England to do a lot more, but Ghana, fair play to them, they parked the bus, as they say. They were very defensive and they really limited England's opportunities.
But what was wrong with England? Was it the same starting 11? Or, what are they a bit tired?
No, I can't see them being tired. I mean, it's just, at half-time into the Croatia game, Thomas Tuchel came out and said that he gave them a real good kick up the backside and he gave them some sort of inspirational talk to sort of they came out fighting. But here in this game, there was just nothing to it. They just seemed to have lack of ideas. A guy next to me said it was as if they were playing with the handbrake on. They were just didn't seem to be going forward. They didn't seem to be getting any opportunities. And they had almost 80% of the ball, and they were certainly stringing the passes together, but it seemed to be sideways and no real shots on goal. And the two key talking points, to be honest with you, Deb, England were very, very lucky not to have a penalty awarded against them. Ezri Konsa took out Prince Edu of the Ghana, one of the Ghana strikers, and it could well have been a penalty. And in fact, I've seen people talking on social media saying, how on earth was that not a penalty? And then also Jordan Pickford came out, clattered against the same player, took him out as well. I don't think that was worthy of a red card, but certainly it should have been a free kick to Ghana. And incredibly, the people around me as well were saying, how can that be a free kick to England after that?
And Panama next, Nick. We should hopefully win that, but then we said we should definitely win against Ghana. So it feels like anything could happen now.
Yeah, well, Panama are ranked Panama ranked 34th in the world. So we'd have liked to think they would get a result. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. We shouldn't all be, upset and disappointed. And, Harry Kane at the very, very end of the near death, he should have slotted at home, but he blazed over the bar. But yeah, as you say, it's Panama on Saturday in New York. Win that, and England looks like they will top the group, and then they'll go into the knockout stages where they'll play against the Democratic Republic of Congo in Atlanta. But I mean, I saw Ben earlier on in Boston, and I think he certainly seemed to have more of the fun last night, because there was certainly no singing of Wonderwall after that game at the end of the day in Boston.
No, absolutely. Well, fingers crossed for Saturday, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us again and filling in all the gaps in my football knowledge. Thank you so much. Right, moving on. The Telegraph is reporting that Sadiq Khan has blamed Donald Trump for increasing the number of death threats that he receives. The Mayor of London, who has a very long-running feud with Mr. Trump, said that upon his election to the White House, death threats directed at him increased by 2,000%. The American president has previously described Mr. Khan as a horrible mayor, branding him incompetent, accusing him of making London a different place because of mass migration. And speaking to Republica, Mr. Khan said, "It's very difficult for me personally, for my family, my friends. It's never nice having death threats and requiring police protection." He added, "We did some analysis, and when President Trump got elected, the amount of threats I received went up by 2,000%. When he was elected the second time, it's gone up by 100%. Now, panel, these numbers are utterly meaningless. What's he talking about? It's gone up by 100%. If you have a death threat, if you get like 2 a year and it goes up by 100%, you get 4 a year. Your numbers are meaningless, Sadiq Khan. Eric, what's he talking about?
Well, I think what we're hearing from him is what we've heard from other people, public figures who President Donald Trump has gone after. We've heard from former First Lady Michelle Obama, who has spoken very openly about the things that President Trump has said about her and her family, and the angst that it caused. In fact, just recently, former President Barack Obama admitted that Donald Trump and some of the things he has said has actually been a source of tension in their marriage. And so I think what we see from this president with the many attacks and that he will lob against people, it does certainly enrage his base. Does that mean they're going to carry out an attack? We don't know. But nevertheless, we see, at least in the United States, political violence is certainly on the rise.
Well, if you take that logic to its natural conclusion, therefore, we can blame the rabid left for the literal assassination attempts on President Trump's life in that case. Tiffany.
Yes, absolutely. We can also blame them for the death of my friend Charlie Kirk. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget that this is an insane thing. I mean, which I do blame them for the death of Charlie Kirk. But I will say that, the reason why Sadiq Khan's threats against him and people generally hating him has risen in the last 10 years is because of his policies and because he is doing things as a mayor, as a political figure in the United Kingdom that are hurting people, and he doesn't care.
Kai?
So he deserves it, does he? That's the logical conclusion of what you're saying.
I'm not saying anyone deserves that. I've never said that.
So you're saying that's, but you're saying that's
there's cause and reaction.
You're saying that's the reason, right? No, I think it's exactly as we just heard. It's exactly as we just heard, isn't it? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is another one who said the death threats go up and up because of Donald Trump. He has not only emboldened the type of online racists who would target somebody like Sadiq Khan, but he has coarsened the political discourse, not just in the United States, but also in countries across the world. And that's why we're seeing the increase of people being willing to say the kinds of things that they say online. Is it any surprise that a Muslim mayor of London is unpopular with Donald Trump supporters? No, it's not.
It's social media, by the way. Social media has been going and integrating to our lives at the same amount of time. So you can't just blame one political figure, who, by the way, was out of power for the last 4 years before this. So you have to look at COVID. You have to look at people becoming more digitally native and being in these little isolated bubbles where all they do is get fed crazy stuff on Reddit and Instagram and X. And they live in these little microcosms that just feed insanity. You cannot blame a single individual for what's going on worldwide.
No, I'm not going to blame all of the world's ills. Go on.
Let me just bring Paul in on this, because do you know what I miss, Paul Cox? I miss the concept of personal responsibility.
Yeah,
that
well,
if you shoot someone or you threaten them with death, that's on you, not someone who told you to do it.
This is exactly it. By the way, the statistics don't add up. He took a statistical baseline. He said when Donald Trump came in, it went up by 2,000%. Then later, from the same baseline, when he came in the second time, it only went up 100%. That's a massive decrease in death threats. So congratulations to Donald Trump for helping save Sadiq Khan. The other thing I would say is Sadiq Khan has to live by the things he says and does. This is a man who denied the grooming gangs were in London. Quite clearly they are in London. This is a man who sets the British people apart from the multicultural people who live in London. He others them. If you are white, you are othered. If you are brown and multicultural, you are in. He talks like this all the time. He talks as if the people that are going to vote for him are all multicultural, because he knows that he is playing a political game. There is nothing we know about Sadiq Khan other than the fact that he is incredibly divisive. So this is a man who has to take responsibility for his own actions, Bev.
Oh, no. Sorry, we've heard that Sadiq Khan is divisive.
Listen, he isn't here to defend himself. He's been voted in three times he's been mayor now? I mean, it's been a long time, pretty much as long as I can remember. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be in the White House tomorrow. Rutte is in town. Mark Rutte is in town, head of NATO. I'm going to be in that room, and I'm going to be lobbing some questions at the president tomorrow, so brace yourselves for what might happen on GB News tomorrow afternoon. I might ask you about Andy Burnham. Thank you for spending your night with me. Thank you to my amazing panel, Eric, Tiffany, Kai and Paul. I will see you tomorrow night, midnight in the UK, 7 p.m. here in Washington, D.C. Could be pretty explosive tomorrow. Join me then.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Met Office extreme heat warnings are in place for today and tomorrow. A red warning over parts of the Midlands, South East Wales and southern England. An amber warning covering most of England and Wales. Temperatures very high, mid to high 30s in places. Not that hot everywhere for Scotland and Northern Ireland. A bit more cloud, some showers across the Western Isles, perhaps drifting into the Northern Isles and the far north of the mainland at times. But most places dry and sunny and hot. Those temperatures widely in the high 20s, low 30s over northern England. Northern Ireland up to 24, 25. Same goes to the central belt of Scotland. But in the south, 34, 35, maybe 37, 38 in one or two places this afternoon. Really quite remarkable temperatures for June. Very hot going into this evening. Not much breeze around. The humidity, that is a key factor. That's why we've got the warnings in place. Humidity is pretty high as well, making it harder to sweat, increasing the likelihood of issues with health. A bit more cloud coming into Northern Ireland and again across the far northwest of Scotland. One or two isolated showers through the day, but most places staying dry. A bit more cloud will spill in across Scotland and Northern Ireland into this evening, but for England and Wales it stays largely dry and clear. Again, a very warm and uncomfortable night like last night. It's going to be very humid. Parts of the south likely to stay over 20 degrees Celsius. So the body doesn't have that time to recover. So again, another reason why we've got the warnings in place. Temperatures further north may dip down into the teens across northern Scotland. A bit more clouds still on Thursday into the northwest with more rain likely to filter in across the Highlands and the Western Isles. Some showers for Northern Ireland. Could see some showers in the southwest later on through tomorrow. But again, for most of England and Wales, hot and sunny. Might be a bit of mist and low cloud on the east coast. Peak of the temperatures tomorrow, again, through the central part of England, down into southeast Wales. High 30s possible. Goodbye.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me. Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain,
with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat, that's what we do, we try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea, they'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you, what is news for you.
And what's brought you out here today?
What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
Their friends, their family.
They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel, they're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return? The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see.
They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain. It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christie's, and you might be wondering why I'm dressed like this.
The winner is GB News.
Yes, that's right. GB News won at the Trick Awards, the best news programme. That was for GB News Breakfast. It's the 4th year in a row that we've won, and it was a pleasure to be there to help all of the breakfast team celebrate. So well done, everyone. And thank you very much to the viewers, because, of course, it's voted for by you and the listeners as well. So thank you very much. But anyway, on with the show tonight. Yep, straight in with the Taliban. So an explosive row after the EU met with the Taliban to discuss deportations back to Afghanistan. But is it not time that Britain just did the same thing? That's next.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles.
Half expecting him to burst into flames there, but are we heading towards an Andy Burnham dictatorship?
Exactly. He's a masquerade Mancunian mystery. We don't know. We do not know what he stands for. It's a complete pig in a poke.
Yes, Boris Johnson called Andy Burnham a masquerade Mancunian mystery. Johnson unleashed on Burnham in a GB News exclusive. Plus,
be out and about too much. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big lover of the heat.
Well, I'm not surprised, mate. But anyway, as Britain braces for 40-degree heat, classrooms empty. Apparently, they've shut various different schools down as well. Are we panicking a little bit too much over this weather? Plus,
it smacks of an enormous complacency.
Well, this smacks of the fact that for years there was underinvestment by the last government.
Is Labour heading for a defence spending clash? Reports suggest that Keir Starmer and Andy Burnham are already at war over defence spending. And
where the motorhome was round the side of the house, which is not immediately visible in the way that we went into the house. And it's between their house and the next door neighbour's house.
This is gold. This is gold. That's the motorhome. That's the house. So today, the Crown Office and Prosecution Service in Scotland released, I think we can call that quite damning evidence, really, about where the motorhome was that Nicola Sturgeon, of course, didn't see. Anyway, her ex-husband, Peter Murrell, has been sentenced today for embezzling funds. I'm going to get stuck right into that. Plus,
calling for inquiries because they want to jump on a bandwagon of the far right.
Well, Keir Starmer might think it's a far-right bandwagon, but it's been revealed that a former Labour candidate and youth worker was among 3 brothers jailed for being part of a rape gang. We're going to talk about all of that. Well, joining us this evening, we are joined by the Conservative MP for Tatton, Esther McVeigh. We've got GB News contributor Will Kingston and political commentator Kai Wilshaw. And happy Brexit 10th birthday. 10 years ago, Britain voted to leave the EU.
We're 10 years on now, and what happened ultimately, we delivered Brexit, and we delivered what it was a hard Brexit. It was pretty hard.
Well, good evening, everybody. Today, the Taliban are in Brussels and have met with the EU without a shot being fired. Yes, the Mad Mullahs have met Europe's elite to negotiate a deportation plan after years and years of telling us that diversity is our greatest strength and flooding an entire continent with illegals and asylum seekers from the very worst countries in the world. Finally, the EU has decided to negotiate with the actual Taliban. You know, this lot. Nice bunch of lads. The meeting was in response to demands for stronger migration policies and an increase in deportations, with a specific focus on the return of Afghan migrants who have committed serious crimes or pose a security threat. And it got me thinking, why don't we just start deporting illegals back to Afghanistan? So back in April, British officials also met with the Taliban and floated the idea. Where are we up to with that? Have we had any progress there? Well, at least 72,769 Afghan asylum seekers have arrived in the UK since 2021. That is a huge number, isn't it? Successive governments went to court to try to hide a catastrophic data leak, an error which resulted in them secretly importing Afghans. One bloke reportedly brought 14 relatives with him. Others, now brace yourselves for this, because this will come as a shock, turned out to be related to Taliban commanders. Yeah, I know. Oh, who could have seen that coming? We built houses for Afghans. We offered them new homes, and we've had some absolute disasters. It turns out that Afghans are estimated to be 14.5 times more likely to commit sexual offences than Brits. So, Why don't we just deport them? If it's good enough for the EU, why is it not good enough for us? It's like Rwanda all over again. Oh, we can't do that, it's inhumane. Meanwhile, the Germans thought, hang on a minute, shall we do it? This Labour government hasn't had a problem with jihadis in the past. Yeah, but just one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen, genuinely. That was Keir Starmer welcoming the Syrian president and the former leader of not just one, not just two, but I think 3 different Islamist terror groups into Downing Street. But thankfully, he, of course, will be heading home soon. The jokes write themselves. Anyway, so what's the problem? Sitting MPs like Tobias Ellwood, they've gone over there. They've done some PR for the Taliban.
It feels different now that the Taliban have returned to power.
Well, it may be hard to believe, but security has vastly improved, corruption is down, and the opium trade has all but disappeared. Pylons distribute electricity to the cities. Solar panels are now everywhere, powering irrigation pumps, allowing more crops to grow.
It's the music for me with that video, I think, that really does it. The kind of softy tourist type. But meanwhile, you know, Tobias Ellwood there, distinct lack of women available to be filmed, weren't there? The Taliban, I think, have banned education for women. And, of course, child marriage is very much back on the menu. So Nigel Farage, he's been pretty clear on it.
I want the message to be sent to Afghans, you know, if you come, you're going to be detained and deported. And my priority has to be the safety of women and girls on Britain's streets.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not sending their best.
Englishman, Nigel Pasa, don't talk about me.
Yeah, he's in prison now. So it poses the question, should this Labour government do a deal with the Taliban to get our Afghan illegals